What's up with y'all out there, man? Thanks for tuning in. It's your boy Logic, man. I got a couple quick things I'm gonna go over with you tonight. Probably won't be a super long show. I mean, it's possible if a bunch of people want to join the panel and talk about it. But we got some updates on Trump's cabinet. Some of the people he's nominated for some of his positions to help him run the country and get some of his legislature passed and some of his laws enforced that he wants to use moving forward. So, and he's picked some very interesting people to say the least, right? I find it pretty interesting that before he even gets in the office, he he you know basically puts his position out there on getting rid of DEI hires, right? And ironically, some of the reasons why people say they want to get rid of DEI hires, it sounds a lot um, it sounds a lot like a social scientist that we've become recently familiar with, and why he feels like the bell curve is worthy information for the society. Very eerily similar, to be honest with you. And they make points like one of their talking points is that DEI hires forces employers to be more to put more emphasis on diversity rather than competence, right? And the short version of that is basically they're willing to hire people of diverse ethnic groups before they're willing to hire the best qualified candidates, right? And of course, that argument says over the long run that could be bad for business. That's some of the logic used behind why DEI hires are bad, right? And that sounds eerily similar to what Charles Murray is saying when he says we need to incorporate some of his findings into social policy. Right? It's pretty ironic how similar some of those arguments are. Um, but moving right along, I got a couple of those topics. I want to talk about a few individuals from that cabinet, mainly being Linda McMahon. I also want to talk about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I want to talk about Dr. Oz. And he got rid of Matt Gates before I had a chance to talk about him. So I'm a little late to that party, but it's cool. You know what I'm saying? He would have he would have made some. He'd have been a pretty easy target as far as a shady character that he's decided to bring into his administration. But I guess that's probably working out for the best of the country that he just eventually stepped down from that position and handed it over to Pam Bondi. Who's not as controversial. I mean, you can try to make a story out of that. I didn't see where, she just reminds me of a loyal Republican. And when I'm saying loyal, she's just loyal to Donald Trump, not necessarily loyal to the politics of conservatives, right? That's what she reminds me of. So if I could say she's guilty of something, it'd be that. And that's what Trump seen. That's his DEI, right? He's going to prefer people who are loyal to him and not necessarily the most competent and qualified individuals to do their job, right? Dr. Oz, yes, he's a doctor, but in the real world, in his doctor world, he has been kicked off of boards, right? He's been accused of being completely false and actually just uh, pushing bad products that have nothing to do with things like weight loss. So some of his takes are really outrageous. They say like his worst one is he claimed that there's unhealthy levels of arsenic in apple juice, right? So and it's crazy how some of these monsters are created, though, right? Dr. Oz is created because he gained popularity on TV from the Oprah Winfrey Show, found his way onto CNN, who also promoted him as an expert, and they would, regularly get his opinion about, um, about science, scientific health related things. They would have him on and interview him about certain things, and he grew in popularity, grew all the way to the point of now he's about to be, I think, the Secretary of Health in in Trump's administration. So very, very interesting. You're gonna have Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Dr. Oz, two people who have been um, basically ousted out of the professional, health community as being flat out pseudo. That's who's going to be running the health of our country, right? And then we got Linda McMahon. Linda McMahon, that's Vince McMahon's wife, and she, controversial figure herself. She's got some good stuff about her too. They say she was a pretty good philanthropist as far as like giving to charities and things like that. And she also was the marketing manager for the WWE when they were gaining popularity. So they're not all bad, but I certainly don't feel like that's qualifications for the head of the Department of Education. I mean, she doesn't have a degree in education. She has experience in marketing for the WWE, setting up cage matches and ladder matches. Yeah, that's what she do. I got a little clip I put together. I want to show y'all right quick, man. Get me started. Before I click on that though, there has been some crazy, crazy conversations going on. Crazy conversations going on, right? I am not a. I mean, I'm not gay, but I understand that there are some things about gay people that I am not thrilled to see. Right? I'm not thrilled to see open public displays of affection between two men. Right? But I also understand that I can't go as far. I can't go any further than that. Other than I personally would not prefer to see it. I could go my entire life without seeing that and be just fine. But what I'm saying is, on a much larger conversation, when you're looking at something as important as human rights, man, and shout out to the chat, man. I appreciate y'all pulling up, man. Like up the video as y'all coming in here. When you're talking about human and civil rights, you cannot have a serious conversation about human and civil rights while looking for reasons to exclude groups of people. You just can't do it. Like the real simple version of that is the same social structure or the same laws that you would have put in place. Now, keep in mind, now I'm not condoning that. I want them to go to schools and teach, uh, prepubescent children about their lifestyle. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with everything that they do, but I'm talking about them as in terms of human rights. Once you start creating an environment where you feel safe for removing rights from them, that same social climate can be used to remove rights from you. That's how that works. That's exactly what Jim Crow was for black people. It was other people who deemed it socially unacceptable to be black, right? And then they started justifying it by making laws behind it. Like that was all the process was. And look how crazy that got, right? I mean, you can't have that conversation in any serious way about talking about not being satisfied with your freedoms and liberties here in America and at the same time be looking to exclude other people from those same liberties and freedoms that you are yourself trying to enjoy and afford to your future generations. You just can't do it, man. You know, hopefully that right there reaches out to at least a few people, you know, in this particular, you know, little strange conscious community thing that we do here and there. Because, like, man, that's I hate every time I hear it. That's the only thing I think of. Right? They try to use the Bible to justify it. They try to use masculinity to justify it. They try to use all sorts of social norms or abnorms for it, right? You know, it's not my business what other people doing behind closed door. I don't really care. Certainly it's not affecting me in any sort of way. You know, but what can affect me, what can affect my future generations are laws and social standards, right? And once I start imposing those on other people, yeah, that same stuff can be, you know, you open the door. And once you open that door, you can also get pushed through it. You know, it doesn't have to stop there. You know, so that's dangerous. But let me get back into my presentation. I just wanted to put that little message out there, man, because people are really tripping on that. I'm not too sure of why bigotry has become socially acceptable again. You know, in small circles, but let's try to fix that.
My own government has placed me on a secret terror watch list.
They'll all be gone by the end of this song. Fired.
You own this pageant, you go over, you're meeting the girls and stuff. One of them comes up to you and says, "Mr. Trump, you're a very sexy man.
You're a beautiful man. You have fantastic hair.
Well, you're a powerful man."
It's
right?
Trump.
Right? You're a powerful man.
Right.
I want to sleep with you. Now, you're not the type that would say no.
I don't want to hurt their feelings.
Right.
Well, you could also say, as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now,
I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, you know, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. You know, I'm inspecting. Right, I want to make sure that
like
everything is good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? You know, they're standing there with no. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible-looking women, and so I sort of get away with things like that.
The early days, the pandemic touted the drug hydroxychloroquine, which doesn't work against COVID-19. Columbia University cut ties, you may remember, with him several years after a group of colleagues accused him of manifesting, quote, an egregious lack of integrity by promoting quack treatments and cures in the interest of personal financial gain.
There was an eye-opening headline tonight involving presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
So that was actually CNN reporting on Dr.
deposition
Oz
during which RFK Jr. said doctors once found a parasite, a dead worm, in his brain. Tonight, what his campaign is now saying about this, and here's Kana Whitworth.
Tonight, new questions about the health of independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. after he claimed a doctor discovered a dead worm in his brain. According to the New York Times, Kennedy testified in a 2012 deposition that he experienced memory loss at the time, saying, "I have cognitive problems, clearly." Kennedy said one of the doctors said it could have been caused by a worm that got into my brain and ate a portion of it and then died.
I was taking a group of people falconing up in Goshen, New York, up in the Hudson Valley. And I was supposed to meet them there at like maybe 8 or 9. I was driving up maybe, really early, like 7. And that woman in a van in front of me hit a bear and killed it, a young bear. What? So I pulled over and I picked up the bear and put him in the back of my van because I was going to skin the bear. And it was very good condition, and I was going to and put the meat in my refrigerator. And at the end of the dinner, it went late, and I realized I couldn't go home. I had to go to the airport. And the bear was in my car, and I didn't want to leave the bear in the car, because that would have been bad. But I said, let's go put the bear in Central Park, and we'll make it look like he got hit by a bike. It'll be funny for people.
As I told you, my 2019 resolution is to say things on air that I say off air. I don't think I've washed my hands for 10 years. Really, I don't really wash my hands ever.
Help me.
No, I inoculate myself. It's just not, germs are not a real thing. I can't see them, therefore they're not real.
So
that's how we doing that. Yeah, buddy. It's your boy Don, man. Capping it off with Don's famous dance. It's a new TikTok challenge. Can you outdance Donald Trump? Miss Biden, whole time. Man, them crazy Biden clips be having me rolling, bro. But you know what? I made a mistake there, I learned from that though. You know, because I put it up there in a way where I didn't have an opportunity to pause it, and I wanted to be able to pause that so I could give commentary in between it. But I just put it up here, and it played the whole thing. And if I had played it again, I'd had to restart from the beginning and all that stuff. So what you saw there in that clip, right? First off, you saw. Last thing that you saw was Joe Biden's indifference to all the things that Trump is willing, is about to do, right? He's about to go in there and inflate Bitcoin. He's about to destroy DEI. DEI. He's about to get rid of healthcare, Obamacare, I should say, right? He going to increase or decrease the taxes, corporate taxes. He just put a guy in there. I forgot what that guy's job is, but God doesn't even believe in germs. He don't wash his hands. You got Robert F. Kennedy. I mean, all these guys, bro, just straight up characters, man. Like literally characters. And half of them are like TV personalities, which is really, really ironic. That Donald Trump is one too. So what's up, Brass? I see you up here, man.
No, I'm just gonna listen to you hate. This is hate, bro. I saw the thumbnail. I saw this and other. So I'm just here participating. In support of my brother, while y'all just constantly trying to make Brass feel like he ain't at home. I'm telling you, I think this election has shown that all y'all been doing is attacking me, bro. And it's starting to hurt on the inside. Pause.
It's not an attack on Brass whatsoever, man. First of all, clear that up.
I'm feeling.
And that thumbnail was actually an homage, right?
Spell it.
I don't know how to spell it. I just know
the way you used it.
It was an homage, right? I am paying homage to a classic newspaper comic by the name of I forget who the comic's name is, but the author of the art name was called The Bosses of the Senate, right? And you have this iconic picture of these exaggerated figures standing behind the Senate, looking down on all the politicians, in a way that expresses that it looks like they're the ones calling the shots, right? And these figures are all dressed in these money bags, and these money bags are it's the artist expressing corporate greed is actually running the Senate, right? And this is happening during this is right before the progressive era, where you have so much the corporate inflation, and you have the people on the top with all the money, and the people on the bottom making $7 a week and all that kind of stuff. And then you got these millionaire railroad people all the way at the top, and you're familiar with that particular time. Maybe not familiar with that particular piece of art, but that's actually what that was. There's a little history behind it. So I did the best I could with ideogram, and they didn't do too bad. I don't think they did too bad.
No, I think it's real nice. And Chef, you shouldn't have voted at all.
Oh Lord.
No matter who you vote, you should never vote, bro. You should never walk into a booth and vote. You too emotional, you too angry. Just let us grown-ups handle this. And we'll take care of you, bro. We got you.
Oh my gosh.
But
yeah. So what are your thoughts on those cabinet members, or what are you about to say before you get into that?
Betting odds are saying that it's not likely. I mean, you already seen it with Getz. Getz dropped out because he knew he wasn't going to be confirmed. One of the things with Trump, he's being very aggressive and he's being very eager, meaning a lot of the things that he wants to do. What's up, Truth? A lot of the things that he wants to do are day one things. He wants to do a lot of sweeping executive orders. And these are normal. This isn't difficult. It's just this isn't not commonplace. Most presidents, when they get in there, they have that first 180 days, like that transition plan. Mm-hmm. But in his case, he wants to make really sweeping changes. One, because this is his last term. And two, because a lot of the things that he wants to fix are going to take executive orders to fix the deportations, among other things. So when you nominate these people, some of this stuff you need to kind of have in place on day one to hit the ground running. And a lot of these people won't get I don't think they'll get approved. I don't think Getz will get approved. I don't think Hegseth will get approved. I really don't think Linda McMahon will get approved. While she might possibly, but yeah, I don't think Dr. Oz. I don't think these people will get approved. And if they do, it'll be a lengthy process, in my opinion. But he also, what are you showing while I'm talking?
I'm showing that cartoon that I was describing.
But did you see that HUD the head of HUD?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, look, you put that in the
some new person?
Yeah, it's a black man. He's a former football player. He seems pretty bright, pretty got a decent history. But he seemed I think a lot of times, and I know this doesn't really answer y'all questions most times, is he just knows how to get people talking about him and doing shows like these. And I think that's one of his strengths. While he's not a normal person, he's not I wouldn't say he's an overly moral person. I'm not looking for politics for that stuff. But I think what did he say? Buckle up, guys. 3 months ago, I came on trying to warn you what a Trump presidency would bring. You ain't got to warn me. I voted for him. It wasn't a warning. I think a lot of this stuff. One of the things I don't like. People have been asking me what I don't like. What I don't like, though, is at some point the social media has to stop, and we got to get down to brass tacks. We got to get down to business. And I think, and I think he's focused on making headlines, focused on staying in the media, focused on staying, somewhat relevant. But I mean, he won the presidency. You don't got to do that. But I mean, whatever he's doing, the method to his madness is working. So far be it from me. But I think when you say, here, Dr. Oz is going to be this, and Linda McMahon is going to be this, and I think
clearly for attention.
Yeah. So I don't. Remember, I told you before, I don't play a lot into what he says. I play a lot more into what he does. The other day, the author or one of the writers of Project 2025, there was this closed circuit. It was weird. It was like this hidden camera or microphone in a room where they were talking about Trump's going to put in, he doesn't know it yet, but he's going to put in the ideas that I have. It's all like out of a movie or something. What was that Netflix show? There was a Netflix show with Kevin Spacey a long time ago. before he got canceled for whatever.
You talking about just the camera view? Because it does look like somebody snuck in.
Yeah, right.
Like
seems crazy.
like a teddy bear cam or something, and then just film the whole meeting with this dude saying off the wall stuff.
Yeah, just saying off the wall stuff, and then just leak it. Right? It's just a bunch of wild stuff. So it's like, what in the chat? What's that show with Kevin Spacey, where he was president of the United States? And it was like every day. It was a real good show too, but he got canceled for, I think, something sexual in nature. But if y'all know what that is, just let me know. Sometimes they throw out wild choices so the real person they want in the position looks more acceptable. Yeah, I mean, it's politics. This is politics. I guess part of the reason why I don't think it's too crazy is because this is commonplace in politics, but most people only pay attention to politics every 4 years, right? Most people didn't pay any attention to politics until last Biden and Trump. Now they're paying attention to it because, like Hit say, if you flood social media, flood TV, we don't know why we're watching this stuff. We don't know why we even care about this stuff. They're just making us care about it. So, but yeah, Dr. Oz isn't a doctor. House of Cards. Yeah, he's the name of the show. Remember that show? You ever seen that show, House of Cards?
No, I'm not familiar with it. I've heard.
If you watch that, this is damn near Trump. Trump is a lot of what Kevin Spacey was on House of Cards. A lot, like a lot of drama, a lot of splash stuff.
And Dr. Oz actually is a real doctor. He got his license in the state
of. I know he's a doctor. Okay. No, I was reading somebody's comment. I know he's a doctor.
He actually is a real doctor. Now, there's a lot of controversy about some of the quote unquote medical advice he's given on TV, but at one point in time he did have an active practicing license to be a
doctor. He's a doctor. He's not just he's on TV. People think it's a game because he's on TV, but listen, I'm not going to. A lot of this stuff to me, and this is the funny part, Logic. Now, I'm gonna ask you a question. Kamala Harris lost in a landslide, so I'm gonna just say the Democratic Party lost politically in a landslide. They lost the House. Well, yeah, they lost the House. We kept the Senate, they lost the Senate. We kept the House, and they lost the presidency. So the funny thing that trips me out, and this is where I always have to kind of gauge what I say in these communities that we're in, is because the conscious community apparently is not a good representation of the United States of America.
It's a horrible representation.
Right. Like it's not a good representation of whatever America is. It's
not even a good representation of the Black community. But go ahead. I just had to throw that in there.
No, I agree with that too. I don't think so. Either. Hold on, look at this. American AHS. That's how I felt about Kamala. I stopped taking her serious and looked at her as a terribly bad actress. Yeah, I agree. And Sosa. So what Trump is doing is normal, so we should not pay attention. No, you have to pay attention. I'm just saying you're not paying attention to what he's doing. You're just paying attention to what he's saying. These nominees, until they're confirmed, then you have the real conversation. You have the real discussion. I mean, that's just how I look at it. It's how I've looked at it in past history. There's always the controversial nominees, but the confirmation process, and that's the checks and balances of it. He can make you the HUD secretary, Logic, if that was the case, but no, you got to get confirmed. It's a different process. But no, my point was, you would think sitting in these circles on these shows, because I was getting frustrated the other day, but then I had to remind myself that the conscious community is not a good gauge of anything. Honestly,
it's terrible.
Like it's very like specific. So if you stay in the conscious community, there's no way that Trump could have ever been elected. So it's a small circle of a smaller community within a smaller community, right? And the one thing I do know about the majority of the people that are telling me their opinions and their thoughts and this, that, and the other, they didn't vote. So in the same token, while I do care, while everybody should have an opinion, it is what it is. That's your constitutional right to free speech. In the same token, if you didn't vote, I'm a curse hits. Just give me one demerit. I don't give a fuck what you think about anything in regards to politics or in regards to the presidency. Now that's a hard stance, pause, that I'll take, but I'll take that stance. I think people that dislike Trump but don't vote, you did a disservice to Kamala.
Right.
You did an extreme disservice to Kamala.
Right.
And so if you're not going to participate in the political process, you can speak because you're an American, but I can also not listen because I'm American too and voted.
Right.
So
yeah, in reality, I'm not gonna say the only voice you have. That's a little overdoing it. But I mean, if you want, your voice counts when you take it to the ballot. I didn't grow up not voting. You know what I'm saying? Now, I also was more of like a partisan voter, right? I would just vote on party lines. That was just how I did it traditionally, right? Now this time, like I say, it was my first time taking a deep dive, and I really found myself. First off, I sympathize, right? I'm not gonna say I kind of relate to it, but I could really sympathize for people who felt like, neither side represented them. I could see people making that argument, right? Because I even found myself having to be more inclined to vote against Trump rather than for Kamala, right? I'm found myself
say that again.
I'm voting against Trump rather than for Kamala.
Okay.
Right? Like I found myself like not liking Kamala enough to want to support her, but being at least off put enough by some of Trump's antics and potential policies for it not to seem like it's in my best interest, right? Like, so, I'm caught in between, right? I don't think that she necessarily represents me and what I'm looking for, and I don't see, the benefit in necessarily everything that he's saying. And some of the stuff that he's saying that's bad, it sounds really bad. You know what I'm saying? To me, those are my personal interests, right? So, I could sympathize with him. I definitely did. I don't relate to him. I can't condone it because at the end of the day, now you've got 4 years to just complain when you could have just voted that one time, that one day. So, it doesn't fully make sense, but I could see where people chose, would choose the couch if you just become overwhelmed, or you're not necessarily, even if you were digging, I might could sympathize with it a little bit. So I don't know. I try not to be so hard on them, but I get what you're saying. If you're not, if you're not participating, then don't participate. Don't participate in the conversation either. Like why? Because why bother? You're not even gonna, not even gonna do nothing about it. So that part I do get.
But read about that cabinet because our boss Massa said get back to the cabinet. So we
Uncle
get
Hitch.
back. Yeah, Uncle Hitch said we got to get back to the cabinet. So let's get back. We don't want to make Massa mad, so let's get back into what we got to do.
So President Trump nominated former NFL player Scott Turner. Scott Turner like a fullback right there, but anyway, as the Secretary for Department of Housing and Urban Economic (HUD). Turner is chair for the Center of Education Opportunity, previously served as executive director of the White House Opportunity and Revitalization Council. Scott is an NFL veteran who, during my first term, served as the first executive director of the White House Opportunities and Revitalization Council, helping to lead an unprecedented effort that transformed our country's most distressed communities, Trump said in Friday's statement. What? All right, Trump, that's a reach. That's a reach right there. It's cool, though. It's cool. Let me just read the small print right here. It says Scott Turner, former executive director. And we just read that. Okay. Those efforts, working together with former HUD Secretary Ben Carson, were maximized by Scott's guidance in overseeing 16 federal agencies, which implemented more than 200 policy actions furthering economic development. He added, under Scott's leadership, Opportunity Zones received over $50 billion in private investment. Turner, a graduate of the University of Illinois, played cornerback for the Washington Redskins before winning a state house race in Texas. He served in the Texas House of Representatives from 2013 to 2017. During Trump's first term, Trump served as an executive director for the WHORC, aimed at helping the country's distressed communities across America, according to its website.
So let me ask you a question. You didn't hear of him, right?
Nope.
When was he nominated?
It had to be what was like yesterday or the day before, right?
And you didn't hear nothing about it, right?
It's been quiet.
Why do you think that is?
He kind of sounds qualified.
I mean, we can look him up and go through it, right? But
ironically,
I'm saying, but you see how that works, though?
Is it because he's black, you think? Is that what you're getting?
No, I don't think it's because he's black. It's because his name isn't Dr. Oz. It's not Linda McMahon.
Because it's not a splash of any kind.
Exactly. So that's what
he actually could fit, and it just be like, nothing really to talk about other than this guy's doing it.
Exactly. That's my point about a lot of this is political theater, and I think what it is a lot of people don't know that. They think that that all of this is just something new. This all happens all the time. We like with Eric Adams here. Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, he's going through it right now. He's a splash guy. Pause. He's all over the news, always talking this, that, and the other. And now he's about to I don't know if he's going to go to jail, but a lot of people around him in high positions have gone to jail. There's all these stories. I mean, that's politics. It's political theater. Now, would it be better, I guess, if some things were just, just cut and dry? No, because you're going to get it on both sides. Pause. That's the world that we live in. You're going to get that kind of information on both. You're going to get, Biden isn't in the news. They're not talking about how he's been asleep for 3 months or 4 months. They're not talking about that, but then all of a sudden they'll just say he gave missiles to the Ukraine. It's like, you just want the splash thing. And that goes back to me in regards to social media. Social media, they have a thing where, how can I say, like the headline is the news. You understand what I mean when I say that? Like for example,
you tell me
with
exactly.
Tim Walz,
I get an idea.
with Tim Walz, the vice presidential nominee on the Democratic side, all they talked about were Tim Walz, the tampon guy. He's the tampon guy.
Mm-hmm.
See how it is? See how like you can be
right. Yeah,
right. Forget that he was governor. Forget all the things that he did. You just boil them down to tampon guy, and that's because social media. They start with all news starts with it, but social media is a little worse because you're scrolling through all these things, and then you just see tampon guy. That's this, and then that's the thing that'll catch it. So
right.
It gets a little hazy when you don't read down to the fine print. You can't read everything. But we get so much information that some of it you need to cycle through. Like I actually looked up RFK last week. I looked into some things because I had to actually ask myself, logic, is this man crazy? I'm just being I'm just
you
being
sound like you
transparent,
crazy.
bro. I'm just being transparent.
Don't he sound like he crazy? Keeping it real?
Yeah, I think he's got some issues, but then I saw he has some mental. He has he had a parasitic issue. He had in the brain. He had a mercury poisoning, and he has a neurological disorder too. But that's why he talks like that. I think it hurts his voice. So, I don't think he has like any kind of mental health disorder, but I know those particular things.
Yeah, so. I mean that's his own admission that he had a parasitic worm eat a part of his brain. He said that, right? That's his quote, right? It come from his doctor, he says, but that's actually him saying that, right? So it begs the question of is it possible that's affecting his ability to problem solve in a position, dealing with our health? Because his views certainly are pretty wild. I said from day one, he fights against like maybe some of the unnecessary ingredients in food. He would overinflate that and call it poison, right? So I'm not sure how poisonous some of that stuff is, but to call it all poison, I'm not sure how accurate that is either. You know what I'm saying? Now, very interested in cutting down on some of the unnecessary ingredients in food. I'm all for that, right? But to package that along with some of his other views, such as like on vaccines and stuff like that, that's kind of that's taking it way too far for me.
What are his views for the vaccines?
He thinks that the vaccine is dangerous. That's his thing. He doesn't necessarily have a specific alternative to the vaccine, but his initial views were that the vaccine is potentially dangerous. Right.
But what is his whole view on it? Or you just think
I'm paraphrasing.
Because I know a lot of people that think it's bad. That's not a lot of people ain't gonna be health secretary potentially neither. But what do you I know, so let's say he's a vaccine skeptic. But what is his besides that on vaccines? So okay, let me ask you a question. Were you were 100% in support of vaccines?
No, originally no, I wasn't.
Okay.
Nope.
So if you're 100%, AK, this is true. My brother said this to me the other day. I'm assuming you're talking about RFK. My brother told me the other day, like when he listens to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. talk, he feels like he has a sore throat. Like it starts making him sick. So I'm assuming he thinks that. But okay, so were you a skeptic with vaccines?
I was.
Okay.
But more of a victim of all the bad publicity.
Misinformation, right?
Yep, all the misinformation, yeah.
So, but did you eventually get it?
I did.
Okay. So now if I told you that his complete stance, not his complete stance, but that he's against vaccines, this, that, and the other, but that he would let people have a choice as to whether they should get it versus it being a mandate, would you have a problem with that?
Say that one more time.
If I told you that his stance on vaccines, I don't know what it was then, but I'm saying as far as now, if his stance on vaccines was, I'm a skeptic of the vaccines as to whether they work or not, but I give people a choice as to whether they want to take it or not, what would you say to that?
I think that's the right way to handle it.
You think that's the correct way to handle it?
Yeah, I don't think you should force everybody to have to get the vaccine. I guess if I had to just be honest about it.
Okay.
Now I think and that's based on my limited knowledge, right? Yeah. Now we're talking about adults who have the opportunity to make decisions, right? And that might be different for like, coming out of the hospital, what you're gonna need to just deal with your environment. You know what I'm saying? So there's I think there's two separate parts of that particular discussion there. So
okay, that's just a question. I'm just curious because I know a lot of people feel like it. I know the Supreme Court's recently for people who lost their jobs because they didn't get the vaccine. Look that up just so maybe we're saying that right. I think that there was a couple cases, I think in New York City, where people who didn't get the vaccine, I think it was because of religious. It might be religious. So look it up before I just start capping completely. I think that they were like retro paid, but I want to say it's because of religion. I don't want to say it's because they had a choice. I don't want to do that because I'm not educated on that.
Yeah, my big fear is for the government to ever have enough power to make that something like that mandatory for the whole country.
Really?
Right? I mean, but where where does it end at that point? You know what I'm saying? Is the next thing going to be something experimental, and now that they have the power to make stuff mandatory, they can make the experimental thing mandatory. I don't want them to ever, have to have I want to be able to have my concerns, and I don't think I want the 100% mandatory thing. I don't think I want that. So when I'm looking up people's religious reasons for not getting the vaccine.
No. Well, no. The only reason I said that was there were cases now where, in hindsight, they're starting for people that lost their jobs. I'll look it up myself, but I'm gonna send you this article. It's in Politico. I'm gonna send you this article. I'm gonna put it in the group chat. See if you can pull it up. Cause you're on a Mac. You got your text connected. You got your phone connected to your Mac now.
No, I don't yet. I don't. I got.
What are you doing? You had your Mac
a Mac ID.
Oh man, you bugging. How do I send this to you? Well, Google RFK Jr. We're not going to take vaccines from anybody. Just Google that and see if that comes up in Google. Now, I want to be clear. I'm in full support of the vaccines. I took every shot. Everyone in my family, we took every shot that we was supposed to take or gonna take, and so I'm in full support of the vaccines. I'm just I think a lot of people think that he's going to be health secretary. He's not in support of vaccines. He wants to keep vaccines from everyone, but they listen to everything he says other than him actually saying in November 2024 we're not going to take vaccines away from anybody.
I did hear him say that. You're right. I did hear him say that. Now look, so I feel like that's tricky to me, because whereas I need you to be in full support of vaccine, not in full support of making the vaccine mandatory. I need you to be in full support of allocating funds for more vaccines, right? So if you were the kind of person who feels like vaccines aren't that important, maybe it's possible that you don't improve vaccines or get us prepared for the next pandemic the way somebody else who believes in it would, right? So you're saying that you're not going to take it away, but that doesn't mean that you will advance the field, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that you'll allocate enough care to something that's possible in the long runs. I mean, that's my thing, I'm hearing what he's not saying, as opposed to this.
Enemies public. What's up, G? I'm listening to you, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm on my phone. I'm learning how to deal with
on what I think he's not saying, rather than this political statement that he's making to get the heat off of him. And I gotta be honest with you.
To get the heat off of him.
Funny thing is, the vaccine is how I met Unc the first time.
They're looking for the link. I can't do it from my phone. I've been trying.
You talking about in the chat?
Yeah. Don't y'all have primary care physicians? Who else would you listen to about a vaccine? I agree. That's who I went to. Yep. That's exactly who I went to. That's exactly, because I got sick in November before COVID. I got really sick and ended up in the hospital for something else, and then when I got back that was like November. I got out in December. When I got out in December, I went to my primary care, and that's when they started talking about COVID, this, that, and the other. But then in New Jersey, New York, and I don't say this like we're all different. We all got affected by it, but out here it was a little different. They shut everything down. Like it was like we were one of the first people, we're out of it. They shut it all. No, you're not going to work, just stay home, this, that, and the other. Do it from, they started doing that kind of stuff. And the vaccine, I just went with it, because at the end of the day, I wasn't concerned so much about myself. I was concerned about, both of my wife and our parents are older. So I was concerned about them. I was concerned about my children. And then also just people in general, in my family first, and then everybody else. I get attacked for that a lot, but just know, in almost every circumstance that you could think of, I'm going to think of my family my immediate family, my surrounding family, and then everybody else. It's just what I'm gonna do.
Right.
It's not a, I know that's not popular. Hey, you know, we're black, we're all black, we're in a group, we gotta fight together and all of that. And all that sounds great. But just know first, when I go down the list, the entire black race is on the list, but there's like a bunch that supersedes it first. Anyone wanting to keep your read that article though. Read some, at least the first part.
Okay.
And
West
read the
Palm
title.
Beach, Florida. Okay. Title is After Trump Win, RFK Jr. says he won't take away anybody's vaccines. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who will meet senior Trump aides Wednesday to discuss his role going forward, said he would eliminate nutrition departments. What? Eliminate the nutrition department? That don't sound too good right there. But anyway, West Palm Beach, Florida, Robert F. Kennedy, who may play a key role overseeing public health issues in the second Donald Trump administration, said Wednesday that he would not take away anybody's vaccine. Asked in the interview with NBC News whether there was a specific vaccine that he would remove from the market, Kennedy rejected the idea that he's anti-vaccine, despite his repeated claims about vaccines being linked to autism. Very, very dangerous right there. No scientific evidence for that. And his involvement with Children's Health Defense, a leading anti-vaccine group. He reiterated that he would take them away from the Americans. He would take them away from Americans. He will meet with senior Trump aides Wednesday to discuss his role going forward. Kennedy said they hadn't decided yet what his job in the new administration would be, but he didn't rule out Secretary of Health and Human Services, and also floated the idea of being a White House health czar. What's that? The head janitor? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, you're wild.
If vaccines are working for somebody, I'm not going to take them away. People ought to have choice.
Yeah, you just be saying anything, bro.
People ought to have choice, and that choice ought to be informed by the best information. See, I agree with that, but I don't think he mean it though.
His issue with the nutrition department, when they say things like get rid of, consolidate, stuff like that, it's because when you look at the federal government, a lot of these agencies all do the same thing.
Okay.
But they're all getting paid separately. They're all, they all have jobs. So imagine if I told you there's a big ass floor and Logic, you gonna mop 1/3. Logic, you gonna mop one part. Chef, you gonna mop one part. I'm gonna mop one part, and then we all just gonna mop the whole floor. Like it's not a streamlined thing. So when you look at certain agencies, it's not just to get rid of it because we don't need it per se. It's to streamline it or change it to make it more effective and bring the cost down. So, like for example, the USDA, the FDA, and the CDC. In regards to nutrition specifically, those responsibilities are shared amongst them three. So when you have that kind of thing, it creates kind of like an inefficient thing where you're wasting money, you're wasting resources, you're wasting time. Like the USDA and the FDA both are in food labeling. Now I'm sure there's a reason or why, whatever they want to come up with, but why not just create an agency to handle food labeling and safety versus having two doing the same thing? That makes sense to you?
No, that totally makes sense to me. Now here's one thing that I don't rule out.
What's up, Chef? You let Chef up. I'm
gonna be short. And what's happening with you, Chef?
No, I was just saying hello. What's up?
As far as the checks and balances, though, I think that type of stuff does play a role when you put other measures in place, so one person doesn't have all the access or all the ability to change things, right? Like I don't know if this is a great example, but I'm gonna try to use it, right? So like for my job, I work in areas where average people can't get in there, right? So what their process is, even though the area is real sensitive, is that they will have a person who's basically over that room, right? But they don't necessarily have the key to get in there, right? So there's a measure in place to be able to monitor all the people who go in there, because by having just this one person with access, you basically have to go and get the key from this other person who's above you, right? So I think that measure seems to add like another layer of security, so that when they go in there, they're under somebody else's watch, right? And they can be monitored, and you have this chain of it wasn't all one person's responsibility to do all of this stuff, right? I mean,
Right.
but that and maybe that could work for better or worse, but I could see that possibly being beneficial, to some degree, if there's some checks and balances between the two that don't allow the other to do too much without proper vetting or whatever their information is. You know what I'm saying?
I 100% agree. What's up, Chef?
What's up with y'all?
What's going on, bro?
Chilling. We've been getting it in, man. That damn server be popping.
Yeah, with half of that should be nonsense, though. I think that server, there's some people in there that need to run a friendly fade, bro. It's some people in there that need to just go in the room, run a friendly fade, and stop beating up the keys on their phones and all of that, and then see if they can come to some common ground. Because a lot of those conversations in there, like I noticed a bunch of times, Chef, people don't really be looking at what you're posting. They're just talking to you. You know what I'm saying? Like they're like, oh, that's Chef, so I'm gonna say such and such and such and such. They're not looking at, like, that Nigerian thing you posted was amazing. No one's addressing that. It gets quiet as hell when you post sources. It gets dead silent. But then it's like it'll kick up, because then it'd be like, but Chef, you did, or Chef, you said. So it gets a little, like Logic and Fetty. They're irritating the hell out of me right now. Like at some point, y'all just need to run a fade and call it a day. Just call it a day.
Yeah,
but what's going on with you, bro?
Fetty went all the smoke. He's 30 years old. So he's going to jump into every argument. And he's a very nice young man. So let's say that from the get-go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very respectful, right? And it boils his blood, the fact that he got to come out of character with us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he'll snap, and then he'll come back to his senses, like, man, I apologize, man. I don't need you, right? Because he wrestling with something, right? It's like having one foot. That's that youth. You did, Brass. I even seen you do it a couple times.
With what?
Hop in and out of, the aggressive street mode back into trying to be diplomatic and brotherly.
I struggle with that, bro.
Yeah, I see. So
I struggle with that.
He's almost 10 years younger than you, and he's trying to do that same thing. So I really be agitating him. You dig what I'm saying? But I know I'm agitating you, Fetty. Trust me, I'm trying to push your buttons, bro. You dig what I'm saying? Because it's only the internet. I'm trying to push your buttons. But you just need to know that you're not always right. All right? That's just, until you come to that conclusion, and then when somebody don't agree with you, it ain't the fact that they dumb or they just not up on any information that you up on. It could be that, right? But you overplay that card entirely too much, right? It's just a disagreement, right? So to think that we can't get up on this subject, right? Get up to speed on this subject quick. We do. It's the internet. We can get up to speed on it very fast. So we can close that gap quicker than you think. Now, I know I play the role that I ain't going to read nothing. I ain't going to look at nothing. You fall for that shit every time. You fall for Chief X get mad as hell. Hey, did you watch my video? Fuck no, I ain't watched that video.
Fuck you in that video.
It's gonna agitate Chief X more when you say you didn't watch his video, right? So y'all guys show y'all buttons too much. So if you put the button right in my face, I gotta press it. You feel me? I'm just that type of dude. If you put the button right in my face, yo, I gotta press it, yo, just to see if you gonna zap out. But it's all good, man. Fetty, I apologize for calling you racist. I apologize for calling you Trump supporters racist. If it's offending anybody, yo, I'm just playing, yo. Like, trust me, yo. Like, that's, most of the time I type this shit, I'm laughing, yo. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, with Fetty, I think with Fetty, Fetty does this thing where he'll present his information. You'll say your point, but then he'll attack you, not necessarily like what you're saying. And then it becomes a back and forth of people are presenting information, presenting sources, but they're not even really attacking the sources. They're just attacking each other. Mm-hmm. And it becomes kind of like everybody else see what's going on. And I said, that's why I struggle with it. Like the other day when we was talking about, I always tell you, Chef, you are the worst use of y'all in the history of y'all. You will say y'all in a room full of 100 completely opposed people that don't agree on anything, and then say all y'all did this or all y'all are this. So I'll be sitting there, and I understand what y'all saying to Chief X. Chief X is kind of like on the extreme side of I don't know, but based off what I've read, I think man, do I want to say this? Yeah, I'm gonna say this. I think because it's like I don't be wanting to be involved, but I feel like based off what he puts, I know he's Republican. That's clear to see, but I think he might be a MAGA Republican or like leaning more.
Oh, he definitely is. Did you see his video? He was dancing in his living room with a MAGA hat and shirt on.
Right. So I think he might be leaning more towards extreme conservative, and I'm not there.
Candace Owens. Look, he MAGA, he Candace Owens. What's the black crazy preacher name who irritate everybody?
What you talking about?
He got a show. He talked like he fucking slow. Oh man.
I don't know what you talking about, but let me know.
Pastor?
TD Jakes almost died today?
Yeah, TD Jakes went out.
He had a stroke or something today?
Yeah,
on like live in the church on camera. Yeah, he had a stroke. I'm starting to notice black people will literally, they need you to fall flat on your face before they give you some help. Like he was up there struggling. He dropped
that nigga looked unhealthy for the last 10 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, bro. I hadn't seen him live since they did all them Diddy accusations like a couple months ago.
Hold on, my dog acting crazy.
Yeah, but like seeing them today, when black people get that shiny but ashy skin all over their body, you like, hey, you looking kind of crazy. But yeah, he was looking bad in that video, real bad. But yeah, he was like, he almost like died. Like he was Jesse Peterson. He talking about Jesse Lee Peterson. I think that's the Truth Savior saying. But yeah, TD Jakes. He was sitting there, he was reading like a scripture or something, but just looking at him, you would think like, yo, somebody need to go help him. Then he dropped his Bible and started like shaking his hands and for about 30 seconds before somebody actually like went and helped him. So I guess people, I don't know, but he doesn't look in good he doesn't look in good health. He looks like he might be having some issues. So I send some love out to his family. Hopefully they get it together. Hopefully there's nothing really wrong with him. Y'all are cruel, bro. Let God work. That Sosa. This is not Crash Out Thursdays, bro.
Yeah, that's right.
Matter of fact, shout out to Sosa World TV and Crash Out Thursdays. Y'all check that out. It gets a little crazy over there. But yeah, y'all crazy, bro. That man might have had a stroke live on TV, and you gonna say let God work. Oh my God. I know y'all didn't just dip while I was talking. Are you eating? Y'all, oh God. You can eat on camera, bro. It's not, we don't get a strike for that. Oh, swallowed up. Yeah, that was one of the wild. Y'all say I'm perverted when I say pause, but that was one of the wildest pauses in the history of social media. Hey, Hits.
We ain't no motherfucking freaks. We some family men. We getting it paper. Know what I'm talking about?
Hits wants us to literally just talk about the cabinet. So go ahead. What else you got on the cabinet?
I mean, as far as the cabinet, man,
What up?
I think I pretty much touched all the places. Wow, I touched all. I can't even say I can't say that either no more. But so I think I went over all the stuff that for the most part I wanted to with the cabinets, right? The video just went by really fast, but there was a lot of information in that video because it talked about there was a small segment in there talking about I forget that newscaster's name, Cooper, that Cooper 360 guy.
Anderson Cooper.
Anderson Cooper a while back, or no, I don't think it was a while back because I couldn't find the real show where he actually talked about what Dr. Oz was accused of, but somewhere along the line, Dr. Oz was like basically ostracized from the medical community, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they, I want to say they took his license, but I know they dropped him from like I know his school like disowned him or something like that, right? Like he was removed from something from his because of he was selling these products that he claimed were scientifically based for weight loss, and they weren't at all, right? And of course, there was some other controversial claim that
he had a lot of crazy stuff. He was saying. And it's funny, everybody talks about RFK, but Dr. Oz was saying use some kind of chloroquine for COVID-19. And they were basically saying he didn't have any integrity. And that a lot of the stuff he was supporting was financial based and not necessarily backed by science.
Yeah, he was trying to make money off of some of this stuff. Like he was like making products off, for these false problems that he was making up out there. So yeah, he was doing a lot of that. And that was one of the big issues with him being something health related for the entire country. That him and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. together over the health. No, that's too much. That's a lot right there. Hopefully somebody step in and get at least one of them dudes, at least not in that high of a position where they could have some checks and balances around them if one of them gets up there. So there was that. There was like I say, Matt Gaetz, he's out the window. I didn't find Bonda to be super controversial, so I didn't really put too much information on her. But Linda, having Linda.
Who is Linda?
Linda McMahon.
So Miss McMahon, you don't know her personally. You're calling her Linda.
Linda McMahon?
Yeah. Put a handle on her name, bro. You just call her Linda. I'm thinking when you said Linda, I'm thinking y'all cool like that.
Oh yeah, Linda. Okay, so Linda McMahon.
Yeah, like, I didn't know who you was talking about for a second. I'm like, Linda. Who the hell is Linda?
My bad. Yeah, so Linda McMahon, right? She was pretty controversial in the WWE, right?
Mm-hmm.
They say that some of her managerial practices was a little sketchy. I mean, but that's not something that they could like verify in court. Like there's no lawsuit or some legal action that was presented towards her.
Mm-hmm.
But so you can't really make too much out of that. But it is funny thinking about the person who was who promoted ladder matches and chair matches for the last 30 years or whatever, being the head of the education department. It doesn't sound like that her previous career translates very well to that. But That's what President Trump was picking. That's who he put ahead his education.
But have you harped on these specific nominees for a reason, or have you just not looked at the other nominees?
Well,
because you don't know them per se.
Well, when I
have you looked into Bessent or Rubio or Rollins or Gabbard? Have you looked into any of those people at all?
I didn't. So when I looked up, I basically went to ChatGPT, and I said who were like the most controversial ones.
Oh, okay. Well, then of course you're gonna get.
yeah. That's so.
Okay,
I
get it.
I wanted the low hanging fruit. Not that all of them weren't, didn't have their problems here or there, but I wanted the low hanging fruit. The newscaster guy, right? That was another low hanging fruit, but he didn't. It wasn't. I didn't think that was super important. The guy who I think he gave him some not very important job. I mean, they're all important, but it wasn't like Minister of Defense or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? So.
Well, no, he nominated a bunch of good people too, and I'm not saying that those people are bad, but these aren't necessarily like he nominated for Treasury hedge fund manager. His name I think is Bessent or Bessent. I don't know how to pronounce it. But
something Nick, right?
No, Scott. I think his name is Scott Bessent or Scott Bessent, something like that. But he has he's focused on macro investing.
Is that the guy who used to work in the
Square Group?
No, okay. I might be somebody else, but I know another guy that he hired. It was something business related. Somebody that he nominated. Excuse me. It was something business related that he put him in. Maybe I should just look that up. But one of those guys used to work in. Are we done with this article here, or you want me to read some more of that?
Yeah. No, we was done with it. I just wanted to show it to you. But like he nominated Rubio, Secretary of State. I think that's a great choice because he sits on the foreign relations committees and like a lot of the intelligence committees. So he's got good information. Did you look at Gabbard for national intelligence? That's another, I think, pretty good one. Did a lot of civil. What is the word I'm looking for? Civil. No, not civil.
I didn't think so.
Middle East service. Did a lot of Middle East service. National Guard, Congresswoman. And I think it'll be a nice, I think for me, I think it'll be a nice different perspective on it. And then Rollins for agriculture. So you got that he's in charge of the America First Policy Institute. So background in nice agriculture. So I think that he's got good picks. It's not bad picks. I don't think they're bad picks. Not in that. Now some of them are a little crazy. I get it, but you also got to remember these people have to be approved. Like Turner, I went and looked into him a little bit while we were talking. The guy that's nominated for the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. It says Scott Turner is a former NFL player who served as executive director of the White House Opportunity and Revitalization Council during Trump's first term. He worked on initiatives aimed at revitalizing distressed communities. I think IAM said they had some initiatives where she lived. I talked to her about that.
Yeah, the zoning. I want to know if you knew something about
the zoning, right? Turner served in the Texas House of Representatives from 2013 to 2017. He's expected to focus on reversing policies from the previous administration, updating homelessness programs. His agenda includes reducing housing costs. Well, that's obvious because he's in the HUD. So what I'm saying is, it's not all a negative thing. It's not all a negative thing. Some of this stuff is positive. I'm sure Truth Savior will tell you that the sky is falling. I'm sure Hits will tell you that the world's about to end. I'm sure all of the people that are sitting back watching Trump in his first 180 days will hope for the positive, but probably believe that it's not going to go well. But I hope that they also watched on November 5th while Kamala Harris got dog walked at the election. So apparently America doesn't agree with you. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah,
I think Chef's back.
The guy who I was looking up, I looked up Howard Lutnick. Howard Lutnick looks really qualified for that. I didn't look up exactly what the Secretary of Commerce does, but I know that obviously that's something.
It's in the name.
I mean, is that foreign commerce or is it domestic commerce?
I don't know. That's a good question, but I would assume it's something to do with. I don't know. Let's look it up.
Something business related. Definitely some business related.
I could look it up and get it exactly. What's up, Chef? I know you dipped out. We ain't forget about you.
Oh no, I was playing the game, yo. I'm listening to y'all build.
You said you off all next week, so I'm sure we're gonna get some good content coming up. What you got coming up?
I'm not all. I was just joking.
Oh, okay. Okay, I got you.
I was just joking. I'm definitely working. It's gonna be lighter though. Cause I'm gonna work on Thanksgiving.
No,
Damn, you gonna work on Thanksgiving?
Yeah, my daughter, she in college and she going over her mother brought a house out in DC, so she going over her mother house. Her mother used to live right around the corner from me, and we used to do everything together. But this fucking coon decide to move all the way to DC and shit. So she gonna go over her mother house because she, so she fucked me over this year. But at least she waited till my daughter was grown, so I ain't mad.
No, I could dig it.
I love my baby mother. My baby mother is my road dog. I don't have a bad relationship with my baby mother at all. So,
can we?
Let me tell you something. That's a cheat. That's a cheat code right there.
It is, and everybody hate it.
That's a cheat code right there.
Hey, fellas, can we keep the F word to a minimum now?
I curse.
I didn't say anything.
You didn't do it on purpose, but just keep an eye.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, cool. Director of Commerce leads the U.S. Department of Commerce, a cabinet-level agency responsible for promoting economic growth, innovation, and trade. Politically, the role involves shaping policies that impact the economy, business development, and international trade relations. So that's what the tariff conversation is going to be. So that's a very important.
You might
position.
be writing it. Well, yeah, he was like some top business exec for some I don't know exactly what they did, but I know they worked in that tower that got hit during the 9/11.
The World Trade Center?
World Trade Center, yeah. So he was like a high-ranking executive for one of the businesses that was hit really hard by that. I think they lost like 500 employees that day in the building.
Okay.
So,
yeah, that was a tough day. I was just watching a post the other day. It says millennials have been through 9/11, COVID, 2 recessions, and multiple wars. So we're not necessarily concerned about anything you're talking about. Now, what year is millennials?
I think that's 2000.
I feel like because I was like, that's not even that long.
That ain't. I thought that was 90.
No, I don't think that's 90 because millennial. Because that starts in COVID, right? I mean, not COVID. That starts in 01.
I thought millennials was born in the 90s, y'all. Come on.
I don't know. Do that thing. I pull up this chart all the time because I be forgetting which one I'm in.
It's centuries is every 10 years, right?
Century is 100.
That's 100 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you be saying the wildest
shit to be that smart, bro.
So
millennial is 1,000 years. A millennium is 1,000 years.
Well, okay.
A decade is 10 years.
You make the
90s. So I'm saying the 90s. The 90s.
Decade. Hold on. Listen. Logic. Don't ever mess this up again. A decade is 10 years. A century is 100 years. And a millennia is 1,000 years.
Bro. So now that I'm smart, I can't never be wrong on nothing. That's cool.
No,
not
I'm not
saying
simple.
You can't
not
be wrong.
Simple. I said you're
I'm not
Freudian. What is it? Freudian slip. I think it's Freudian slips are just be hilarious.
Yeah,
it's just like you'll say like the most simple thing wrong and then be like completely logical about like a really difficult thing.
I sometimes
and Fetty killing you for this right now, by the way.
Oh, he accused me of being his hater earlier, but I see him out here. He doing his thing. That's all.
Y'all just need to run the fade. I'm telling you, bro.
I ain't tripping though, bro. You know what I'm
California,
he's tripping and I'm not
California
tripping.
with that friendly fade, they figured something out with that.
No, they didn't. That'll
Yes,
get you
they did,
smoked
bro.
here in Baltimore.
No. Hey,
There's
listen.
no such thing as no friendly fade. How the fuck is gonna be friendly?
There ain't no friendly phase in the war.
No. I've definitely done that before. But me and my brothers, my father believed in putting on gloves. You know, if y'all really want to, if it's real, then put on the gloves and solve it and let's move past rather than bickering and arguing over and over again.
That makes it worse.
It worked. Not for me and my brothers. It completely works. And maybe that's just our little group. But I will say this, some of my best friends that I have to this day are people that when I first met them, we were in conflict and we fought. Like two of my three that I call best friends, road dogs, that we met fighting. Like we fought first. We got into like something serious and then I guess we got that out the way or whatever. We got some respect and then we cool. Sometimes, Chef, I'll tell you this. Listen to me. I will just tell you how I work. Sometimes I know that most people will pick with you until they have to have actual conflict with you, and then it ain't that serious. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
Like for example, you can call me a dumb A. I ain't picking on you, Fetty. I'm just being real. And then online, you can say you a dumb this or you a pussy. You can say all of that stuff. But like even Fetty will tell you. But if you were standing in front of me and you said that and I was willing to become physical behind that, you wouldn't say it again. You know what I'm saying? So there would be, at least we could establish a baseline of respect. And a lot of y'all conscious community conversations, that really is the issue. People saying a whole bunch of things to each other that they wouldn't say necessarily
exactly
if they were standing in front of them. You understand what I mean? That keyboard courage. So, sometimes
that's
you just
why
gotta
I keep
run
all
fade.
my conversations respectful. I ain't cussing nobody, y'all. Motherfucker, I might see your crazy ass in traffic.
you said that. You said that before.
Like
when
because it didn't happen, right? Listen, it didn't happen. I done met like 3 people, then walked up on me in the public, and then said something and I'm like, wow, like that's crazy. Matter of fact, a couple weeks ago, at my school that I teach at, guy pulled up. He said, damn, Chef, man, this is crazy. I said, yo, what? I said, only somebody from the internet called me fucking Chef. He like, man, I watch you all the time, man. He started talking about the Nzinga shit. I'm like, oh, man. I said, should I pull my knife out? Like,
yeah, you should have. I ain't gonna lie to you. I swear to God, bro.
Because that Nzinga shit infuriated niggas. I'm looking at this nigga talk, but he was very respectful. He was coming to the school. One of the students was cutting his hair. It was a family member. But man, he talked to me the whole fucking time, yo. Like, and I'm like, yo, that's crazy, man. Like, and then he told all of the students, he be on the podcast. I said, man, don't tell him that shit.
Bro.
Yeah, but you can run. Listen, y'all can run into some of these people in real fucking life, and imagine you out with your fucking kids. And one nigga told me on Garfield's show, he was from Baltimore. He said, yeah, Chef, you better be respectful. He was like, I know where that barbershop at, I'll pull up. And I'm like, bro. Now, and I snapped on him. And then I realized, yo, I don't know what this nigga look like. Let me shut the fuck up. You feel me? My face excuse me, I'm cursing. My face all over the camera. You dig what I'm saying? This dude know where my shop at. He know exactly what I look like, and he's just typing. I don't know him from a can of paint. You feel me? I don't know this guy. I said, let me shut up. But I told him, bro, I said, if you really come around this barbershop on something stupid, whatever happened to you is your fault. I had to tell him that. Nigga, this is my place of business. You feel? I'm just online playing around. Now, if you come to this barbershop when whatever happened to you, that's your stupidness. How can you explain that to your family or whatever, you in the hospital because you came to somebody place of business because they was online talking about Egypt? And the guy could have been playing, right? He could have been playing, but it's some fools out here. I'm like, he might, you dig what I'm saying? So it's crazy. So that's why I don't curse people out. And online, I don't talk to y'all crazy. I might say something that you might feel is offensive, like me calling you a racist or something like that. If y'all feel like y'all want to punch me in my mouth over that, we really need to work on some stuff.
But that's why, you know, I'm not advocating for anybody to fight. I'm just saying along the lines of these people make these arguments so serious and so life-threatening and so, like, you know, you would think that they, you know, you trying to kill me or something. But in actuality, if I said, listen, let's just solve it this way, you wouldn't. Then all of a sudden you would want to use every word in the dictionary to try to solve it in that way. Yeah, and I think I think that's good.
I couldn't imagine fighting none of y'all over these conversations.
I agree.
I would look at myself like I'm a complete idiot if I got into a physical altercation with somebody over them voting for Trump. I feel as though I'm at a place in my life where my resolve is way more, is way above me. I can't imagine me fighting at any time. Where I'm at in life right now, I just can't imagine it.
Oh yeah, being tough is over with.
Yeah,
tough,
I just can't imagine.
Tough died a long time ago.
You got to do some complete disrespectful mess to make me actually, because I could walk away from you. Mm-hmm. When I be seeing people in the mall or something, I be like, how did y'all get that deep into this disagreement, bro? Somebody could have walked away. You feel me? Like, before I zap out in the Barnes and Noble, I could walk away from a motherfucker. You feel me? Mm-hmm. Before I push you all into the bookshelf and, you know what I mean? My cousin right now is locked up and we laugh and it's not funny, but it's funny. His mother brought her grandson to get his hair cut.
Donnie said smash with a fighter. I want to hear that story.
Yeah, that he probably do. He probably hit you in your mouth. But look, my aunt brings my little cousin, her grandson, into the barbershop to get his hair cut yesterday, Saturday. And she said, your cousin back home, talking about her son. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what is she talking about? She like, yeah, he back home. I'm like, Aunt D, what you talking about? She like, yeah, man, locked back up. I said, there's no way in the world man could be locked back up. Man is my older cousin. He done spent 20-something years in jail. Mm-hmm. This nigga is 51 now. I'm like, Aunt D, it's impossible for him to be locked back up right now. That is crazy. Somebody cut him off, right? Driving, and he pulled up on him, followed them, and when they pulled into the gas station, he pulled the guy out the car and assaulted him. And when his girlfriend jumped out the car, he assaulted her too. But you're at a gas station, everything was recorded. His ass.
How long was he locked up before?
Huh?
How long was he locked up before?
He did about 22 years. He did about 22 years.
The social skills in prison is way different than the social skills out here. And they run like, you know why I don't, when I stopped being tough? I remember one time I realized I was not tough at all. At my daughter's high school graduation, I just wasn't tough no more. I thought of myself as like, yeah, I grew up here, I did this. And then at my daughter's graduation, this guy was arguing. No, my wife was arguing with a lady over like seats or whatever. We had a big family. And we ended up getting a lot of tickets, had to buy tickets from other people, this, that, and the other. So she was just out of pocket. But like the husband, the guy, the wife was talking to my wife, or his girlfriend was talking to my wife. And I was just like, just stop talking. You know, we had a graduation. Let's just, I don't want to be remembered for that. And then the guy jumped up and he took off his shirt.
Oh man.
He was ready to get it. He was ready to fight, that and the other. And like nothing in me said fight this
dude.
Like nothing. There was not even the inkling in me, because I realized immediately I'm not willing to go that far. Like I'm no longer something.
And I'm not as mad as him.
Yeah, and I'm not even triggered
when
like
you
that.
know you
bother
can't
me.
match somebody intensity.
Yeah.
Like, bro, I'm not even that mad. Like, you could kill me right now because you are balling.
Yeah,
I can't
going
even
crazy.
match
You
your
done lost your
intensity.
mind. And guess what? And guess what the tough guy did? The first word, security, solved this. And they solved it. And then it was like, now here's where the street guy, they were like, "Oh, you not worried about what's gonna happen now?" I wasn't even thinking about what's gonna happen because I was at my daughter's graduation. But in my mind, I just hadn't. I think it was just over with, because like jail, I have no interest in it. I have no interest in jail at all. Like if I was to go to jail now, I would literally be confirming what probably a billion people have said about me and my generation, that at some point we was just gonna be criminals or something like that. So, nah, no need to being tough. All right, hold on. Let me read this, because some child trying to get his point across.
Yeah, I was actually just reading. I was looking that up. I see 3 of them. I don't see 4.
No, it's actually 6. Voight Hoffman, but authors, these are people that contributed to Project 2025, but the contributors to Project 2025 are all Republicans from his first term that helped him in his campaign or helped him in his what's the name. So it's not radical that 6 of the people that had something to do with Project 2025 would also be cabinet nominees. That's not a shock. That's not a shock at all. Sosa said jail is a lot nicer now. I'll take your word for it, bro. I'll tell you, I couldn't even I am of the, and the thing that bothered me about jail is not the things that bother everyone else. The thing that bothered me about jail is I spent too long in my life being told what to do, where I could go, what I could eat, and all of that, to then willingly go and do it again. That would be the part that like someone telling me you got to go into this room until this time tomorrow morning. That would drive me absolutely crazy. I can't. That's how much I have an issue with authority. Trump has denied having. You know what it is? That's a good point. I says Trump has denied even having anything to do with Project 2025. He has. I don't think he's 100% telling the truth, but I'm listening to him. It's funny how people will listen to everything that will trigger them when it comes to Trump, but nothing that, it's like you just don't believe him. Now I get it. If you don't believe him, you just don't believe him. Okay. But I think in the same token, he's publicly stated, and he didn't have to, he's publicly stated he doesn't have anything to do with Project 2025. And once again, most people that have an issue with Trump and Project 2025 can't tell you what Project 2025 is. They'll tell you it's his full policy. It's what they're going to do through his entire term. And they needless to say, every president has some kind of group writing a transition plan or something like that. But he said publicly he has nothing to do with it. I'll go with that until he says otherwise.
Now, yeah, I think that's what Sunchild's trying to get at. I can't lie, I have those thoughts too, right? Because I know that a part of that 2025, that Project 2025 was they were, going to target DEI. And, he hadn't even been in office yet, and he's sworn that he's going to attack it, right? So, he might have publicly said he's not gonna do it, but at this point, what's to stop him? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the checks and balances. There's a lot of things that could stop it.
Well, I'm talking, all of them. He might not be able to get all of them done, but some of that stuff it might be in line with his actual thoughts, right? So yeah, he might not do it verbatim, but he might could do his version of it and still not quote unquote be lying about, I didn't do Project 2025. So
yeah, well, he's president. He's the next president of the United States. We'll find
yeah,
out.
I'm on the fence about it. I don't remember. Oh, maybe was he saying that he was going to stop DEI the whole time? Was that a part of his campaign this whole time?
Yeah, in the rallies, yeah. Okay. He's been against DEI for a while.
Okay.
Well, because see, here's the thing about DEI. I mean, not DEI, but the Project 2025. Project 2025, one, it's a transition plan. It's, first 180 days or something, these are the things. This is most parties when they come into office, say it's a Democratic regime and a Republican regime takes office. Well, when that happens, immediately, the first things that they try to do is get rid of the previous administration's policies that they deemed unnecessary or problematic. So a conservative plan for what Biden was doing for the past 4 years, well, really 3 years, because he's been asleep for one. That's like immediate day one stuff. That's the transition plan. So, because you gotta remember, a presidency is technically 4 years. I mean, it's technically 4 years, but it's really like 2. So, like, you spend half of the first year kind of establishing yourself and then addressing the previous administration. So, and that usually goes into damn near almost the whole year. Then you got 2 years where you're kind of going if there's no major things. And then in the third year, you're running for re-election or you're working on that. So usually the 2.5 years is what you got to really, be presidential per se. I'm just speaking, not just in conversation. So a lot of time with the Project 2025, its aim really is to kind of reshape the government to more of a Republican ideal. Now, Project 2025 is a problematic document. It's a huge document. I haven't read the entire thing. I've read some of it, but not the entire thing. I think it's 200 or 300 pages, and I think it's gotten bigger since then. So it's more of like it's kind of like all of the ideals, but then some of them are just in a very extreme way. And that's where it makes the whole document problematic. To me, in my opinion, I agree with some of the things in Project 2025, but some of those things are just so extreme that the entire document you'd have to throw it out. If you set it on my desk and I said, I like that, damn, I really don't like that. Whoa, that's crazy. You throw the document in the trash and then focus on your policy. That's where I kind of stand with it, because consolidating government, lowering taxes, certain things is cool, but then there's some things in there that are just really problematic. I'm not even going to bring them up. You can Google it and look it up. Where you just can't take any of it serious. But it wasn't led by Trump. It was led by the Heritage Foundation, and he's publicly disavowed it being part of his whatever. Because there's supposed to be a separation of church and state, and they talk a lot about putting in Christian values and a lot of stuff in regards to government. And I do believe there should be a separation of church and state.
So for me, the DEI situation, right? That's a clear cut sign of racism within the conservative Republican Party, right? The fact that they aim to always, it's been a talking point for them to go at DEI hires and make a joke about it, what they're doing is they're desensitizing, right, the American public to the fact that DEI is put in place so we can have inclusion of different people that would have been otherwise kept out of certain arenas, right? So it is, I mean, stuff like just the jokes that they make about it, right? Is this one that's going around where they saying if it's a pilot, right, and he's black, right, white people are saying, I don't want to get on that plane because that might be a DEI hire. And what they're saying is if you're DEI, right, then you're not qualified, right? I don't know where in DEI it says that the person that gets the job is not qualified. You dig what I'm saying? But that's the joke, right? It's the same thing with they linked it with what's the one with that they struck down? The Supreme Court struck it down. The
Roe v. Wade?
No, the other one that they just
affirmative action.
Affirmative action, right?
Yeah.
Whereas white people will see black people in certain universities and automatically think that that was an affirmative action situation and the person really didn't belong there, right? So all of that going right is a joke, is constantly being played on us, right? And the fact, look, this is the kicker right here for me. The kicker is that the reason why they do it the same way, the reason why they do welfare like that, right? Whatever a social program they want to get rid of it, right? They say is something for black people, right? No matter about all the other people that benefit from it, right? When they want to get rid of it, right? They constantly smudge it and keep putting the black face on it. So white people, it just shows how racist white people is. Because before they look, their women, their wives, their daughters all benefit from DEI, right? Their wives and the women in their family benefit from affirmative action, right? But the fact that you'll put black people as the face of it, right? Even welfare, their women even benefit from certain welfare programs. Because when you think about welfare, they put the black woman on there and they make you think about only one thing, getting a welfare check. But what about school lunches and reduced lunches? That's all put under welfare. And a lot of people need that shit. So they'll cut off, what's the saying, they cut their nose off to spite their face, right? When the conservatives want to take away something, when those racists, I'm gonna stop calling them racist, right? When I'm gonna say when a conservative want to take away something, right? To stop funding for something because they wanted to go somewhere else, what they do is they put a black face on it, and they know white people don't want you to have shit. So that man, that shit is crazy. Do y'all see that shit? I keep cussing. I'm sorry. It's crazy, but we fall for it, right? Even the Latinos are starting to fall for it. Like, yo, how could Latinos vote for Trump? This one talking about getting y'all up out of here. So it must be, but they didn't show that the Latino really was voting against black people. Their biggest issue, they want to align with white more. They want to be true Americans, right? So Trump is looked at as the true patriotic American. So Latinos think that, we need to be on this side because being with black people, it looked like you just want to be against America. It looked like our positions here is just anti-American. That's how everybody look at it. The fact that we ask for the same things that everybody else gets, we're looked at as being un-American. The fact that we argue with the government to include us, we're looked at as un-American. That's why American Dream and them fuss with us so much. That's why most immigrants are against Black America, because Black America is looked at as un-American. You dig what I'm saying? Because we asked for the things that we were supposed to get. Because we're not happy with our living conditions. Because we're not happy with racism. We're looked at as un-American. And, you know, most immigrant groups want to align with the power structure. So anything that we're doing, they got to be against it because, you know, white is right. And, you know, who don't want to be aligned with the power structure? Even Black people feel this way. Even Black people will disagree with our own people just to seem like we are in line with white power. It's a way for us to feel smart or something. You dig what I'm saying? That's crazy. Man, racism is that shit work overtime on us, man.
I think we could get together and do a little bit more of a show on DEI because it's actually pretty deep, right? I don't know if you've looked much into it, but like it's deeper than just it being something to take away from Black people, right? And what I mean by that is, you know, it doesn't just. It's not all good, not all bad, right? So like the arguments against it are more about
my bad. What's up, Hits? Hits up here?
Yeah, he up here.
Okay, what's up, Hits? My bad. Go ahead.
It's a lot more about like, is it, you know, are they reducing some standards in order to be more diverse? And what do you have to sacrifice to do that, right? Do you have to sacrifice competence? Do you have to sacrifice people who are more qualified, people with more experience, right? Like, what do you prioritize? Is it experience or competence or, you know, qualifications, or is it diversity? Because a lot of times you can't do all of it at the same time. And let me give you like an example of where DEI, yes, I said it right, DEI doesn't work, right? So Chinese people are so smart that they can become, they can be overlooked, even though they are the most qualified, the most competent. Right now, I'm not saying that that's what happens most of the time, but and I'm not, you know, sitting here speaking for Chinese people. But what I'm ultimately saying is, I would much rather hear them talking about reforming DEI rather than getting rid of it. And the words that they use, they were going to get rid of it, right? I could see where reforming it makes sense. But I mean, unfortunately, their aim is to get rid of it, right? So like, you know, you can't, I try, right, not to personalize a lot of that stuff. But I think because it's coming from Trump and he carries a lot of stigma with him, it's kind of hard not to, but I can absolutely see where DEI could be harder for people who are actually qualified. You know, it'd make it difficult for them because you're basically incentivizing, and in some cases financially incentivizing diversity rather than, you know, the best, right? So like, let's say we're talking about a college, right? You can have a college who prioritizes diversity. Let's say we're talking about Harvard. Mm-hmm. So this Harvard education is top notch, and not everybody like literally can do well in Harvard. That's not an environment that probably works best for everybody. So now you're going to incentivize Harvard to lower their restrictions and prioritize diversity and maintain a higher dropout rate, then continue to flood, you know, to take on more Chinese people who are probably more qualified and better suited to be at Harvard. You know what I mean?
I feel like this is going to be fun.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's not.
What's going on, Chief?
But you know, after doing some research, I see where that actually might hurt an African American. They had a chance to go to Harvard, but because they like acumen wise really didn't belong there, they didn't make it because they don't belong in Harvard's. I mean,
Where
belong.
are you getting this shit from?
What do you mean? Where am I getting it from?
What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Why
so
would a
I mean,
black
I
person
looked
be in
up. I
Harvard
looked
that
up.
didn't belong in Harvard?
I mean, what do you? Where are you getting yours from? So what I looked up.
No, you're saying that there was
Yeah, I
black
mean,
people
so
in
yeah,
Harvard
where I
that
looked up.
didn't belong in
Yeah,
Harvard.
I said I was trying to take it back. Belong is a strong word, but I'm saying that they're not setting themselves up to thrive in that particular environment. They might do better at a different college and not necessarily Harvard, is what I'm saying. I don't know if you agree with that or disagree
No,
with.
I'm talking about the black people that had the grades and the SAT scores to get into Harvard. When was those people not qualified to be at
Right.
Harvard?
So that's what I'm telling you. Sounds like you might be missing with DEI is that it'll potentially lower standards for people who really don't have those grades.
Oh my God.
Give them an opportunity to actually get into Harvard. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it doing that also.
Hold on, y'all, before we move the conversation into a whole nother direction. Peace to everybody in the chat. What up, Chef? What up, Brass? What up,
What
Logic?
up?
Peace to my bro DQ. What up, Chief X? If you have a channel and you're in the chat and you're a mod, put a link to your channel in the chat. Or if you're not a mod, just type it in or leave some sort of description. Thank you all of y'all for stopping through Sosa Worlds on the spot. I think True Savior's in here. Chef got a channel. Chief got a channel. Chief X. Who else? I just don't want to miss nobody.
Give me about 5 minutes. I'll be right back.
Go ahead. Who else? Rats, who am I missing? Somebody else I know came through. But again, the enemy's public. All of these people have channels. Follow their channels. Subscribe. Hit the notification icons and all of that. Real quick. Buzzwords. Trigger words. DEI. Project 2025. Let's look at Project 20. I'm not going to pull up any. I'm just going to read something. And as far as people that feel like it's a little overt, but checks and balances, quote unquote, would keep it in place. The project's emphasis, and I'm just reading something from Bard, which is Google's AI. The project's emphasis on executive power and dismantling checks and balances resemble historical examples of authoritarian regimes. So checks and balances only work when they're against what you're doing. But if you put them in favor of you, or if you get them out of the way, that's the whole point, right? It's also built on populism and nationalism. It aligns with populists, not just here in America, but globally. So some of those things, even though they may seem outlandish, that is the purpose, is to steamroll checks and balances by putting certain people in place in certain positions at certain times. DEI. As African Americans, we should always go back and double, triple check our history, be interested in our history for personal reasons, and just general knowledge, because it wasn't always forthcoming and as prominent as it is now that you can find on the internet. So let's just look at a few things about DEI, the history, based on racial discrimination and gender equality, right? If you didn't need these things like affirmative action and a call for equality and or civil rights, voting rights acts, all these things, if you didn't need them, they wouldn't be there, right? Mandatory training trying to help people identify personal biases, affirmative action. I think you already spoke to that. That's something that's built on. 80s and 90s, it shifts more towards a spectrum of diversity. I don't even have to go into the details, but you can look legally in corporations, you can look in education, you can look at healthcare, all of those fields. You start, having to deal with diversity, whether they like it, you like it or not. Multiculturalism, corporate deregulation. We talked about regulation on some shows and how certain politicians want to deregulate Regulations, for the most part, are there to keep people in line and make sure they do the right thing. Sometimes they can become a hindrance, but that's not the overall goal. You wouldn't need them if people did the right thing. And we can look up banking acts. We can look up healthcare situations where people did not, corporations did not, doctors did not, etc., did not do the right thing, and you have to regulate them. Social media, uh, human resources as a core business function that used to be a smaller department in a lot of corporations through the years that become a larger department. And basically, again, it's built off civil rights, sexual orientation, disability, religion, um, things like that. So it's just not something that pops up. It's not a buzzword. It has a history. It has a foundation. And simply put, those foundations are because people don't do the right thing all the time. The majority doesn't do the right thing all the time. So you have to regulate things and you have to change things from a different standpoint. So let's just be careful when we yell words like buzzwords, Project 2025, DEI, thing like. And Chef was right. A lot of people benefit from these things across the board. There, just think about this. There wasn't always a wheelchair ramp somewhere. If you had a wheelchair, you went to a public building. There were steps. You have to put laws and policies and things in place so they have access just like you who are not in a wheelchair. Well, how come they didn't just do it? Oh, wouldn't that be the right thing? Yeah, it would be the right thing if they would have just did it. But sometimes you have to make people do things, and you have to document that and put it in policy, law, and regulation so that it's followed out and upkept. So that's my little 2 cents on that. And Chef, if you keep cussing, use it. Y'all can cuss, but the F bomb,
I
you
can't.
both gonna be in
I'm
the back.
trying.
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. X, what's up, bro?
What's that? And who's just speaking? Who's that?
Hits.
That's me, Hits. What's
Oh,
up?
Hits.
Yeah,
What's up?
yeah,
What's
yeah.
up,
I got a
Hits?
whole different headset. My other one broke, so
What's that?
I got
Hits?
my cheap one on.
Is Brass and Logic still here?
Logic stepped out for a minute. Um, Brass, I don't see. No, I think Brass left, but Logic stepped out for a minute. Go ahead, Bill.
Oh, Brass is not on the panel.
No, I don't see him in the back either. He probably stepped out for a minute.
I ran him off.
I think Logic.
He
is
a Trump
back, though.
supporter. Go ahead.
Go ahead,
You the
bro.
next one up.
I really wanted to. I really wanted both of them to hear this.
Okay.
Logic said he'll be back in 5 minutes.
Yeah, Logic will be back. Go ahead, Chef Bill.
Yeah, but but real quick though, you saying that Brass is off the panel?
Yeah, I don't even see him in the back, so he's not even here.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Well,
and I don't see.
I'll wait for Brass to come back. But
okay.
But I do want to say this though. People had brought up Project 2025 during this election process, and it was put out by the Heritage. Logic is in the chat. It was put together by the Heritage Foundation, which is a foundation built of many people, right? So certain aspects of things written in Project 25, many people had a lot to do with it, right? So it's not right, or it's kind of disingenuous to name. Some people listed about 4 men's name and said they wrote Project 25. That's not kind of correct. They may wrote an aspect of it or a piece of it that they had a belief in, right? So just to clarify about Project 2025, Donald Trump clearly denounced it several times. Not only did he denounce it, he said the things in there are extreme. And he's not extreme, he says. So we have to kind of take him on his word. And he's really not an extreme person. He, in my opinion, he's kind of a centrist. And I consider myself a centrist, right? Donald Trump used to be a Democrat. So we know who really follow this and know him. He's not a far right. He's more of a centrist conservative, right? And you guys were talking earlier, and someone said Chief X's would be a far right extreme. I'm like, where do you guys get this from? I continue to tell people I consider myself a centrist conservative, right? I said people in the Democrat Party and liberals these days, you got to listen to my wording, has went too far left. So far, I can't agree. Now, if they were in the middle a little bit, then hey, maybe I might be able to agree with some stuff. But I feel that they went way too far left, right? So Trump had said you have extremism on both sides. You have extremism, Republicans, and extremism Democrats. You have people centrist. So I always make this analogy, and you can Google this and look this up. Bill Clinton's Democratic views back in his day, 20 years ago, whatever it was, in today's time, he would be considered a conservative Republican because people have moved so far left, it would make his stances in life, his values and principles seem right-wing in today's time because people have went too far right. So we have to just take President Trump's word. He denounced it. He said it's too extreme for him. Now, one other thing about it. People are reading things in Project 25 and misunderstanding things because there was a campaign for your vote. So people use hyperbole and exaggeration to make you think or feel a certain way. So when they say Project 25, Trump, and they read all these things, in Project 2025, he says we're going to get rid of the Department of Education. Here goes uneducated liberals and Democrats freaking out. People on social media freaking out. Oh, he wants to get rid of the Department of Education. That means we're going to be dumb and there's going to be no education, and was freaking out. They didn't understand. All Trump is saying is they prefer smaller government. This is what Republicans are about. Smaller governments and stay out my business. Right? So, yes, he wants to get rid of the federal Department of Education. And what he wants to do is move that stuff to the states so the states can handle it. So no, people, he was not trying to get rid of education. He was just trying to remove the from the feds and give that power to the states. For example, back in the day, you used to have horse and carriage. And the feds used to run transportation on these roads and streets and highways and byways. So they said, we're not running this no more. Give that power to the states. So now what we have is Department of Motor Vehicle. Each state has their own Department of Motor Vehicle. The feds don't have to worry about that no more, right? It's the same thing with education. It's because the Republicans are about smaller government, businesses, and people, and the government out your business. I like the government out my business. I like smaller government for certain reasons. For example, he wants to get rid of abortions. No more abortions. What are we going to do? We're going to go crazy. People freaking out. But they didn't know more abortions happened under Trump administration than the Democrats administration. So was he for getting rid of abortions? No! He wants to get rid of it on the federal level and give the states power to handle that kind of stuff. States handle Department of Motor Vehicle. States handle education. The states handle abortion. Remove that stuff from federal and we need smaller government. That's what that's about. So people are freaking out but just didn't understand the angle of what it is supposed to be. One more thing. Nobody on this panel, and maybe people didn't think of it this way, but nobody on this panel, if they opened up a business or started their own corporation, wants the government telling you what to do and how to run your shit and who you have to hire. Nobody wants that. I don't want nobody telling me if I had a business who I need to hire, who I have to hire. You better do this. No. Business owners, corporations don't want to be controlled by the government. This is why they're against DEI. Nobody wants to be forced to do things they want to do. If it's a company on some bullshit, you don't need to be there. Why would you want to be there in the first place? But here's the thing, this is 2025. Democrats have liberals so up in arms and thinking they're victims in this victimhood mentality. They think that someone's trying to harm them or against them. For example, companies know, and there's stats out here, and all corporations have these studies and understand this, that their company or corporation will be more successful with diversity and a bunch of different people because you get different ideas and different ideologies which help a company grow. All corporations know this, and they're for this. This is not no corporation in 1950. We're talking about 2024 corporations. They understand it. So all this systematic racism people are concerned about is not like that. For example, I'm going to end with this. For example, when I was a realtor, my real estate broker was a black man. Here's one thing. People be saying, oh, DUI, but then they cool with somebody saying black-owned business. I mean, like, like that's a contradiction itself. Black-owned business, black-owned company, but then you cool with DEI. I mean, like, it's crazy. But anyway, my real estate company, not my real estate company, the broker I worked under, my real estate license was under, he understood that his real estate company would be way more successful because it's about green. People are not going to spite themselves just because they don't like you. I'm not going to make $1 million less a year just because I don't like this one person. People don't do that these days. My broker wanted to have some Latinos in the office so he can get some of that Latino money and deal with Latino buyers and Latinos that want to refinance. He wanted to have a white person in there so he can get some of that white money and deal with that white refinance money and home buyer money. He wanted to have a person of every type of different race in the office because he knew his real estate company can grow and make more money. It's the same ideology with corporations. They know this. They want to have sales representatives for their corporation that can go into the hood and market this product. They need everybody of different race. But we just don't want to be told what to do and who to hire. That's why some people are against DEI. But you don't have to worry about it because corporations already understand diversity helps their company grow. Everything is sales and marketing, and the dollar is green. It's universal. They don't give a shit. A loan company, people, oh, it's racism. And any lender we was doing business with, they don't care if you're black, white, Mexican. They not saying, I don't want to make a $10,000 profit because that's a black person. Yes, they do. I never met a white person, a Mexican person, or any person in real estate and home loans who didn't want to make money no matter what the race of a person is. So all the fear mongering and people thinking, oh, no. Corporations are going to hire a diverse amount of people, women or whatever, because you got to get certain blocks and make certain money. So it's all kind of mind games and people fear mongering, and it's okay. I just wanted to clarify that.
What's on your mind, Chef? You look like you're sitting there seething, you're boiling over. What's on your mind?
Oh no, I'm listening. It's a very commercial way of looking at it.
He said sorry, I'm sorry, Chef. Someone said result based, so that's what it is, result based.
Yeah, it's a very clean and commercial way to look at it. You know, if only it was true, I would be all for it. If history didn't happen, if only we didn't have a track record of America, I would say, yes, that is a beautiful American ideal. People should be able to do whatever they want to do. I totally agree. Most black people were conservative leading up into the 1950s. Yeah, That was true. Most black people wanted government out of their business. We wanted to be left alone. You dig what I'm saying? Because we seen the government as something harmful at that time, right? They wasn't really trying to help. We didn't see them as something that was really trying to help us, right? We only seen them coming in and they were harming us, so to say, right? We was the party of Lincoln, right? Republican. We wanted less government, right? But then we realized that we needed government, right? When the government pulled them troops out of the South, right, during Reconstruction, everything went to hell. So it's easy for the Republicans and the conservatives to say they want less government now. Yeah, but we know we need the government, right? We need a federal body to oversee to make sure these states do the right things by us, right? If it was just about the states, Thurgood Marshall and them wouldn't have had to fight all through the states to get to the Supreme Court, which is federal, to make them states do the right goddamn thing. See, that's the whole issue. So I agree, right? In certain aspects, just as a regular white American, that's beautiful. But as a black American, knowing the history and knowing that you need government to make people do the right thing, then I'm going to roll with the government on this one. You know what I mean? That's my spiel.
Right. So we all roll with the government. This is a good thing. The government has protections for us. We have the FDA. All this food we have in our grocery stores over here.
No, let the state handle it.
Yeah, no. It's made safe by the FDA. Now, if the state was able to, that's fine. Long as the food is getting checked and it's not poison and we getting fed poison stuff, it's all good, right? So, here's the thing where we mess up. Like, this is why I was trying to put dates on here. I can't walk around life spewing ideologies in 2024 that fit a lifestyle and an ideology in 1950. So when we're dealing with life in 2024 and the way of the world, which is about money, we can't look at it in the eye and look at it as in what's something that happened in 1950 and 1960, because it's a different day, right? You got black women, black folk taking white former presidents to court, riding on him. It's a different day. They trying to get him locked up and things like that. So black folk are out here locking up white folk. Out here in California, Kamala Harris was a what's the damn title? I have a brain. Attorney General. She calls the shots. Black folk call shots these days. Right? We do. It's a multicultural world. Corporations want to be multicultural to make money. We just don't want people telling us what to do. Now, if it was some rare companies or something that are racist, I'm sure, some CEOs are racist, I'm sure, then hell, that's just their company. Shit happens. There's a bunch of black companies and corporations that's racist and shit. Talking about black-owned company. Like, what if some white-owned company said white-owned? Like, is racism going on? Right?
Why do you think they say black-owned companies, though, Chief X?
Well, black-owned companies, because they need the support. I'm not against people saying that. Just don't get me wrong.
And what else? Give me three reasons why you think somebody says black-owned company.
For one, they would need the support. At one time, even liberals were at one time pushing black-owned companies. I remember it was a time when they was having riots and shit. People say, hey, put black-owned company signs up in there, then they won't fuck with your business. You know what I mean? It's a bunch of different reasons, but it's basically you just letting people know you're a black-owned company. You would like support. You would like help. You know what I mean? You know how we do. That's what this is just about. You know, letting people know. In general, you probably won't know it's a black-owned company because we just think it's a company, probably some white or some Mexican, you know, so they just announce it, I guess. I don't know.
It's let me jump in here for a minute. Peace, everybody in the chat again. Peace to the panel, Chef, Logic, Chief X. Again, like, subscribe, hit the notification icon, not for only our channel, but their channels. I'm sure everybody in a chat and on a panel and who's going to hear this in the future don't look at African Americans as weak or needy or just trying to get in to fit in. And Chief X made a good point. If we look at it right now, 2024, almost 2025, and you take some of the things that's going on now and expand that across African Americans through history, you'd be wrong. You'd be supremely wrong. We are not weak. We've done what I'm sure over the last 300-400 years, people around the world have envied and tried to do. So I don't think there's no need, and we're just begging and we're stupid. We're getting tricked by democratic and liberal policies and this and that and Bill Clinton, because anyone can go online and look up which administrations benefited African Americans the most and the least across the board, whether it's economics, whether it's healthcare, whether it's education, whether it's property ownership. I'm not going to do that now, but anyone can do that, and I'm always going to bring it back to African Americans, because that's what matters to me. That's not biased. That's not needy or anything. Because if you look at the statistics, we're constantly on the bottom, and that's not because people are lazy or stupid. There are reasons for that. Do I know all of them? No. Now let's go to. Hold on. There's a few things I wrote down. I was trying to keep notes. I'm sorry. Sending things back to the states as opposed to federal government. Different factions wanted smaller government, right? Because the states can handle it. States have over centuries done things like gerrymandering, the black codes, things like that again disenfranchise African Americans disproportionately. If everybody got hurt from these things, then a lot of things I think Chief X says, yeah, you can, it holds water. But if we're disproportionately affected, and that's important, that's extremely important. The same, when the country gets a cold, African Americans get the flu. That's not just some shit that people make up because they don't got nothing better to do. No, look at the history. What does gerrymandering in a state do, and how does it adversely affect African Americans? Because you can redraw district lines. I'm reading right now. And concentrate black.
How you spell gerrymandering?
Hold on. Gerrymandering. Just let me say my little spiel.
I'm just looking it up.
Go ahead.
I don't want to interrupt you.
Jerry, G-E-R.
I-R-E.
No, it's Gerry.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, there you go. It allows the states or the districts to concentrate black voters into few districts while spreading them thinly across others. So even if you wanted to vote your interest, you would think it would be fair in your county or your district. That's where gerrymandering comes in. They've done that in the South heavily. I think somebody wrote that in the chat. As far as states go. Let's see, what else? Hold on, that's just gerrymandering. Reliance on social safety nets. Most people rely on Social Security, things like that, which are federal programs, Medicaid, Medicare. Not most, but lower income people. That's a federal program. Anytime there's a disaster, if the state can't handle it, who do they go to? The federal government.
Hold on. Do y'all hear echo?
I don't. Oh, maybe. Am I talking too loud? Maybe my headset's too loud.
I hear echo.
No, I don't
Go
hear
ahead.
echo.
Okay. It's me.
So, COVID. I'm sure if you look up the stats on it, African American businesses, black-owned businesses suffered the most. And I believe it was African American women-owned business that suffered the most.
When?
So if hold on, if the state can't help them, that's where the federal government comes in. Let's see, limited protection for discrimination. States, you have to go to the federal government to have a solid backing on what's discrimination and what's not, because states have shown historically to do the wrong goddamn thing, right? Let's see. Well, I ain't gonna keep reading that. What's the next thing I'm talking about? Again, federal government. The federal government regulates things. I have a commercial license. I work for pharmaceutical companies. I work for the world's largest beverage company. I work for the world's largest retailer throughout the years. I've handled hazardous material that is meticulously, or should be meticulously, record kept until disposal. Without federal regulations, I literally can, dump that somewhere, anywhere. I can travel down the road with that not being secured and labeled properly. I can do all of that. States may say, "Oh no, let's make the laws more lax." Chef is a barber. I'm sure Chef has to go by certain county laws, state laws, to keep his equipment clean, to keep his facility in order. He's an
State and
educator.
federal. State and
And
federal.
federal. Now, here's another thing about a CDL a lot of people don't know. Although my license says New York State, it's federally regulated. So I can't drink and drive to a degree that someone else can. I think the state or the federal, whatever, is 0.08. Ours is like 0.01. We can't speed. You guys can go 10, 15, 20 miles over the speed limit. We can't. Just by and I don't even drive trucks anymore, but that's federally regulated. But again, let's get back to like hazardous material, things that touch your skin, things that you ingest, like Chief X said, the FDA. You wouldn't need the FDA to enforce regulations if corporations that handle your food or anything else that touches your body or you ingest did the right thing and not do it to cut costs, right? So these things are super necessary. What else do we got here? The corporate makeup of people. If you go to a corporation or a company or business and all you see is white men, that would give you the impression women aren't qualified, black men, Asian men, brown men are not qualified. These are things that you need. You have to make them do the right thing and give other people the same opportunity that they had. And these things are obvious 20, 30, 40 years ago. This is not even that far off. Chief X is talking about, oh, we can't operate like it's the 40s and 50s and 60s. Why not? I'm not saying we operate like that in today's, but what were those black people doing that was so despicable that we can't fight and talk like they do and call out bullshit when we see it and be on the lookout for the next downturn for our people? That's what they did. And they ended up dead. They ended up broke. They ended up in jail. And their kids and grandkids suffer. So I don't see anything wrong with looking back. And also, let's use one simple thing like a legal matter. Why you need history. And we're going to tie corporation into it just to make a simple example. If I can show you have a history of not following regulations, it's easier for me to make you follow them or put you out of business and put
That's
public and hold on. Don't look back. Let's not look back. That's how you find precedent on there. Let's look back and see how and check your record out to see if you're on the right path. If you're trying to do the right thing, you have to look back. It gives you it allows you to make things relative to each other in their meeting. You just can't start with today. You can't. And if the numbers aren't in the favor of the things you're saying today, you just talking. And buzzwords don't get it. I don't think there's a statistic saying black people use too many buzzwords. Y'all get scared when they yell 2025. No, the statistics show We're the least healthy. We're the least wealthy. We're the most prosecuted and treated differently on all levels. That's what the numbers show. And I didn't even pull no numbers tonight. If y'all want to do a show on that, we can do a show and pull numbers. We ain't, like Unc said, piece of the pseudo killers. Don't talk me to death. And I won't talk you to death.
Okay. Let me say. What was I gonna say? I was trying to do. What is 6 is? Hold on. Okay. So I don't want anybody to misconstrue something. Like we're all on here trying to help each other, trying to educate her, and we're trying to throw information out here. We're trying to clarify things and things like that. So no one needs to be bothered or mad or have an attitude, or it's not a competition. It's not us against you. It's not me against Logic. It's not Chef against. We're just having a conversation about politics in the world right now. Everybody can breathe and relax. I don't have to develop some ideology that's going against what Logic is saying, and just create an argument where they don't need to be an argument. We're just sharing and information and giving clarity to things. So when I first started speaking, I was just getting clarity about things about the Department of Education, how people were freaking out, and they weren't trying to destroy education. They were just trying to give it to the states. Nobody here is saying, I'm telling you, the government is very much needed. So I agree with you, Hits. I would agree with a lot of what you said. I'm not saying government is not needed. My point is, I'm just the angle Republicans take sometimes is just smaller government, stay out my business. I'm not saying government is not needed for certain things. That's not what I'm saying. So we agree. We're just seeing it from a different angle, right? So it's all good. We're just talking and sharing and trying to enlighten each other and clarify things, right?
No doubt, no doubt.
Right. So today, though, like people, what's an example? For instance, if I'm okay, if we put it this way, black folk is 13% of the population in America. There's 32 NFL football teams. 6 of the 32 football teams have a black American coach. Is that like some huge disparity? I think that might be over 13%, right? So we can no longer cry about black coaches in 2024 like we did maybe in 1970. So all I'm saying is sometimes when we talk about things and we talk about the past, you can't go at things like it's the civil rights era when we have civil rights and human rights now. You know what I mean? So like if things are wrong or out of place, we have what we call the courts now. Black folk can go to courts and sue somebody for discrimination or whatever is wrong. Right? So what I mean by update our minds is we can't think in 2024 as if it's 1960. We would be being disingenuous and seeking some kind of victimhood mentality when we basically are some spoiled folk here, right? I don't know a business that Logic or Chefrine can't start right now if they don't want to, if they wanted to. Logic and Chefrine can right now get a passport and go to Russia and can't nobody tell them shit. Right? So it's a different day, right? Chevron can start a toilet paper company right now. Nobody's going to stop him. He can start some kind of hedge fund. He can start a real estate company. He'd become a broker. He can do whatever he wants because Chevron is a free man. He can become a barber instructor. He can open up a barber shop and do what his heart desires untouched. And back in the times, we couldn't just do anything we wanted to do untouched. So it is a new day if we're being honest, right? So I'm just saying, if or in logic, I know you guys haven't agreed to this yet, but I know you agree, even though you don't want to say it. If you guys started a company or business, you wouldn't want nobody telling you how to run your shit and who to hire. You might want to hire the homies. And you should have every right to do that. Now, I'm sure if you're in North Dakota somewhere, and some corporation had all these white men, you got to think about the geography and the area. There is no job or business that you cannot start or get into. If you had a degree in robotics, your black ass can go get a job in robotics. Nobody's stopping you. Because the employer wants to be impressed by whoever is interviewing him, whoever he's interviewing. If you impress that employer, he's not going to say, damn, I'm just not going to hire this qualified person that can expand me and my company, help me and teach me. Yeah, you're hired. This is what goes on these days. People hire who they feel is qualified and can help them benefit and raise their company's stocks and money. In 2024. So we're past 13% of the coaches in the NFL today. In the NBA today. When the NFL season started, I think somebody said 50% of the quarterbacks were black. Or was this college? I may have the stats wrong. Remember how we used to complain back in the day? Oh, black folk can't be quarterbacks. They used to make these black quarterbacks become wide receivers because they didn't want no black quarterbacks, and it was just we 13% of the population. 50% of the quarterbacks is black now. The NFL don't give a damn. They want to win is the bottom line. They want that money is the bottom line. So they saying we're going to hire Lamar Jackson. We don't give a damn about what they was talking about in 1950, 60, and 70. That's all I'm saying. So I'm not spewing nothing that's out of line or that's false. I'm just saying today in 2024, it's a different day, and it's hard to have discussions if you're going to use an example for something in 1960 when we're talking about something in 2024. Unless we're just trying to make people racist erroneously.
What about precedents, Chief X? So you don't think history don't bear no weight on today?
All that. But it just depends, though, what you're talking about, what subject matter. That's all.
Well, no, exactly what we're talking about now.
Right.
Like I think
I don't think you disagree with anything I said, though, Chef.
Yeah, I do.
Everything, or like just maybe one thing.
Everything.
You're saying that, Chef, because you're in an emotional mood and you're mad that I voted for Trump.
Yeah.
You're not, Chef. You're a logical person. I know.
Let me work through this.
But I'm just gonna say this. I'm letting you know because I know where you're coming from, Chef. I've studied you for years. You don't disagree with most 90% of the things I said, but you're gonna force yourself to disagree. That's why I started off saying we're on this panel. Breathe, y'all. We're just trying to give clarity to things.
No, I got a real disagreement though.
You don't.
Yes, I do.
You're trying to force a disagreement.
No, listen.
Go ahead, though.
All right, now, if you was to say historical precedents shouldn't take place, especially when you're talking about politics.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
No, you keep saying we shouldn't look at the 1950s.
I'm not saying that.
You said it.
No, I'm not saying that in a vacuum. I'm saying I'm giving specific areas, Chef.
I know, but so I'm not even going to use your NFL
precedence
reference.
Is proper. I agree with you. You always need to look at a precedence. You always need to look at history to see what's going on. I agree with that. That's what I said. I agree with what Hit said.
So I'm not going to use your NFL reference because that's sports, right? We can put that to the side.
I gave you a business reference, and I gave you my real estate company, how he wanted to hire a
Yeah.
Mexican realtor.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. This is 2024.
Yeah, but
Okay.
you always had white people, right, that would hire black people. There ain't nobody never say that in the 50s and the 60s it wasn't blacks working for corporations. We was there, right? It's not even a point. It's just that it's not proportionate. And then how do we include African Americans, not just African Americans, but other minority groups also? How do we include them, right? How can we put something in place right now? You couldn't chill. You couldn't stop it altogether, right? You can't stop it altogether, but there should be something in place, right, to include minority groups that in any other case can be marginalized and kept away from certain industries. By us only being 11%, now y'all saying it's 13%. By us being 13% of the population, right? You don't think that we could be, if they could X us out before, right?
Who's they?
White America.
But here's the thing, Chef. America is diverse these days. But no, I'm not denying it.
So you're denying history.
I haven't denied anything you're saying yet. Just calm down. I want you to understand that when you go to universities and you see all these people getting degrees and stuff, there's Japanese, there's Chinese. When I go to UCLA, there's Japanese, there's Chinese, there's whites, there's Arabs, there's all kind of people. So when
I
you
agree.
say they,
That's because
so you can't just say they these days.
That's because we fought for it, right? And that's because we have inclusion because of the fight and the laws that were put into place. That's why you think they just did it because
I agree.
So you think the diversity that you see now is just out of the goodness of America decided to move forward?
You want me to tell you?
Yeah.
Let me tell you why.
That's gonna be good.
Today, my son in 2020, let's just go back, at an all-white school was the prom king. His school wasn't even 5% black. His girlfriend, the blackest thing in the school, was the prom queen. Why? Because he was a great student, a great football player, and great everything else, and he earned his way to whatever he got. He was never discriminated against. He got a scholarship to a school. He was never discriminated against because he was black. My point is, my son is not going through anything close to what somebody in 1960 was going through. So my son and his friends on the football team, the quarterback who's white, he got white linemen. All these guys have been desensitized and love him. They spent the night in his house. So this generation sees black folk different than the generation in 1960 does. This is a fact.
It's not.
White kids today look up
your
to
son wouldn't have been even able to go to that school if it wasn't.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's not 1950.
No,
it's
hold on.
Yo, that is so crazy.
It's not crazy. I stated facts.
Let me get in here.
You're disagreeing because I made some profound points.
That wasn't a profound point.
My point is,
if
it's
it
different
wasn't for
today
the civil rights movement, your son wouldn't even be in that school.
All the white boys I grew up with, who I was on a wrestling team with, and we was in the trenches together, they see us differently because we grew up together. We've had the same friends. We're in the same classroom. So they see us and look at us differently. This is why you see a lot of the white kids, they trying to rap today, and they trying to...
There had to be laws put into place in order for that to even happen.
The civil rights era. That's what I said.
So when conservatives now are trying to repeal all of those stuff,
they're not trying to repeal any of that.
Man, you know what? Go ahead, Hits.
No, hold on.
Yeah, the term is they're trying to get
everybody
rid of these guys. They're not trying to
peace to everybody in the chat. Y'all witnessing people who agree and disagree and we doing it, you know, in a place and, you know, in a way that we can get our shit off and not be disrespectful, not cutthroat, and hopefully not make a follow-up video just to chop somebody's head off tomorrow or later on. But let's and everybody on the panel right now, if we take our personal experience, it's going to be different if we look across our demographic. We're all black men on the panel. I think me and Chef and Chief X are on the older side. I'm 55, so I don't even know if I'm older than Chief X. Him and
I'm
Chef look like
54.
they're in their
I'm
30s.
54. I'm 54.
Yeah. Him and Chef look like they're in their 30s, and Logic look like he should have been to bed a while ago. So I know I'm the oldest, but that to say, it's we're not up here just for our own and defending our own personal household, our son, our daughter, our wives. We look across the board, and again, proportionately, African Americans are on the bottom of a lot of things. So I wouldn't take my personal success if you know that's relative, right?
Can
That's
I interject
relative
real
to.
quick?
Go ahead, bro. You got it.
When you say we're on the bottom, are you putting fault on somebody else or fault on
No,
us?
no. Hold on. Because by our personal metric, well, I did this, I did that. My son, my daughter, you know, but both my kids, college educated, business owners, all of that good shit. I have my own business, and that's a question I want to ask people in the chat. Chief X talks about his business. I was an owner operator, um, commercial vehicle driver for a few years. I want people. Chef is a barber, his own business. We yell these things out, but at the same time, I want people in the chat to say if they own a business, how easy or difficult it was, or where did they get their information from when they started. And I bet you Chief X and Chef and me, I done heard it. I go online and see people all day. Start you a trucking company. People don't even know what a truck costs. Oh, you should go there buy real estate. And I'm not talking about people like our sister I am over on the spot live. She gives you details, all of that information, right? So at the same time that we're talking about our personal experiences, we're thinking about the broader group, and the numbers don't lie. And I see Fetty in the chat. People don't live up to their potential sometimes. We got to look at the reasons why. If you're and here's where history comes in. If you're like more likely to be arrested and charged and convicted and sentenced for the same crime somebody that's not like you would walk or get a fine or get a lesser
Somebody
charge.
somebody pee-peeing. Cut it out.
That was me, Chef.
That
You know what? That was me, Chef. I poured me some whiskey.
oh, okay. But again, it's relative. I'm speaking relative. Like if we're talking one to one, individual, man to man, what you got, how you got it, that's you. But overall, our people aren't in that position. That's why I said before, when COVID hit, we were the most susceptible. Not African Americans alone, but African American business owners. The shit we yell out: get a business, get an LLC, go do this. Then when shit happens, we the first ones to lose it. The first ones that can't recover. The first one that probably didn't go into it the right way because someone said, "Oh, you can do it like they do it. Do what they do." So let's consider those people. We all got people in our family that have been incarcerated, that have drug abuse issues, legal issues, didn't graduate high school. Let's consider those people. And I don't think, and now if Fetty says because they didn't live up to their potential, he'd have to point out all the people in his family and say that. I can see the bumps in the road for people in my family. I can see the hiccups that they went through, how things happen. It's the recovery and just stay relative to a cross. Yeah, we own homes, Chief X. Yeah, we in college. But relative to other people, why are we still on the bottom though?
I'll
Don't
tell
just
you
say
why.
we're doing better. You're right. But
I'll tell you
relative
why.
to hold on, listen what I'm saying. Compared to other people, we ain't doing that goddamn good.
Yo said, "I'll tell you why." Wow.
I'll tell
He
you
gonna
why.
tell
I
him.
got a hit.
I'll tell you why. Let me tell you something. When the community.
Hold on, stop right there. Hold on, just hold that thought. Fetty said he got a transportation business. I would like Fetty to come up at some point and tell people how that works. Because if I told you what a commercial owner operator, the cash you need on hand, which I did not have, costs, what a truck costs, what insurance costs, what diesel fuel costs, what a trailer costs. Most people don't even know you got to buy the trailer separate from the tractor. Oh, it don't come with it? No, it don't come with it. And you start off at the bottom. So if Fetty can come up here or put it in the chat, something with some more detail, because I'm sure Chef can do it. I'm sure Chief X can tell you exactly about the real estate business. Period. That you just don't walk into these things or tell people go do this. Go ahead, X. My bad. I just want make that clear.
Like Fetty typed something very important that I hold on, right? He said, let me read what he said. There's some form of accountability we have to take, rather than blaming external forces. Some people like being mediocre. I would never in my life tell my son he's handicapped. No, you're not handicapped, son. You are great. You can have any woman you want, any job you want. You are brilliant. You are wanted. You are loved. My son believes that right now. Because I didn't play victim with him or give them his mentality. He's a victim. We have to take responsibility and be accountable, right? So I'm of this mindset, maybe because of my flashpoint in the so-called conscious community, and maybe because I've been self-employed for 20 years, I think this way. I don't know. But the Nation of Islam believes in a conservative principle that they've touted for 50 years. And that is do for self. This is what the Nation of Islam has always said. Do for self. Jeffrey knows this.
Broke. Them niggas broke.
Right, but fine. But what you got to, but no one ever said, oh, that's some conservative racist shit. Whatever it is, it means you're in control of your destiny, and do for self, help your people. Just do for self and get your shit together and be accountable, right? It's a conservative principle. We have to be honest. It's a smaller government principle. We have to be honest. We have to be accountable for ourselves. I just said, Chef Ron and anybody listening to my voice can start any business I want. Isonic types up here. Systematic racism exists. This is the difference between people. I don't believe so at all. Systematic racism died along with having civil rights and everything. What you have is what black folk is confusing is you have racist in certain positions. That doesn't mean the system is racist. I made a video last year and asked everybody, it was on a live stream, tell me the specific system, since you say there's systematic racism.
Can somebody pull up the government?
I can show you all the systems. Yeah.
The government. Hold on, Chief.
Let me break it down.
The government put out a statement saying that systematic racism doesn't. So the government is lying. Let's pull this up.
That's a fault. That's some liberal bullshit.
Let's pull that up.
Let me just finish my statement.
So go ahead. Keep going. You just put your foot in your mouth.
I'm not gonna be long.
Hold on. I get to finally say it. Chief X, don't get nervous.
I'm not. I've been waiting to address this because people are confusing this.
You got it.
There's no system in America that violates your human rights and your civil rights that any black folk listening to me cannot sue in court and win. They do it all the time religiously. Stop the cap. There are racist people. They may be a racist judge. That doesn't mean the criminal justice system is systematic racism unless you're taking your mindset back to 1960s and 70s and 50s. Yes, it was some systematic racism going on. Jim Crow and all that shit was systematic racism. I'm talking about in 2024. If you go into a store and some white man say, "Get out of here, you can't eat here because you black," everyone listening to me know damn well that you can sue in court and will win. The system isn't racist. That owner who was serving you or at the counter talking to you was racist, not the system. In 2024, there's no systematic racism. People, systematic racism in finances and in home loans. As a realtor, no lender ever in my life that I know of turned down giving a loan to black folk or Mexican folk. When they qualified for a loan, they got it. And that company made money off me getting a loan, made money off a Mexican getting a loan. They're getting paid every month interest. It doesn't happen in home ownership unless you're talking about something back in the day when there was redlining. Not in 2024. There's no systematic racism in any field. This is why I ask what field or name the industry that is systematic racism in. And every time I ask this, no one can do it.
Okay, hold on.
They be like,
okay, hold on.
And looking around. All you can do is point out somebody who was racist at a certain company. That's just that person. That's not systematic racism.
Hold on. Watch how you
systematic racism disappeared because you have laws and civil rights and human rights now, and you can sue just like anybody else.
But hold on, how could that person exist? Just off top of the dome, how could that person exist in that job description or job position that they have, and be able to do that? And then you have to take them to court.
Able to do what? What do you got to be specific?
No, you said the person behind the counter was a racist. How was that person able to have that job behind there and be racist to you? Say you don't take them to court.
Hey,
they are part of.
Someone can hire Dr. Khalid Muhammad for a job and not know he was a rabid racist.
Hold on. You said it had to go to court. Okay, let's just look at the screen, right? Again, buzzwords. Victim. African Americans, black people, we yelling victim all the time. Oh, we the victim. What is a victim by definition? That's putting the cart before the horse, saying someone is screaming victim. A victim is the one that was acted on. We're just going to read the first few words. One that is injured. One that is subjected to, tricked or duped. That is something that was done to you.
It doesn't say any race. Anybody can be a victim. You can be a white victim, a Mexican victim, a Samoan victim. Everybody can be victim. A victim don't mean black folk.
No, you say you make it sound like we overwhelmingly cry victim. Now,
yes, we do cry victim all the time.
Hold on, watch this.
You want me to give you an example?
No, I don't want. No, wait, because then Chef's gonna go. First of all, if
Chef
anyone can prove
Chef
those
left.
Things right there,
it was
or show
too hot
that.
in the kitchen for Chef.
No, listen. If anyone can show any of 1A, A1, and A2, 1B, they are a victim. Now, in court, in legal matters,
but it's not race related.
No. Let me finish my point.
No, just be real. Just be real with me for a second. I'm just interjecting. It's not race related. What you're reading is not race related.
Relax. It's okay. Relax. It's okay.
But you agree with me, right?
Y'all got to give me props. I got to
See,
give you
this is the mind game we do. We can't be real.
Nah, it's not a mind game, but
Logic.
you've been going,
Can
going
any
for a minute
logic?
though.
Right,
So
logic.
I've been sitting here
Can
waiting
any
for
race
30
be a
minutes on
victim?
my show.
Logic. I didn't say anything crazy. I'm
And
asking you a
I've
simple
actually heard
question.
you say a lot
Can
of
any
stuff
race
wrong.
be a victim?
Like not stuff I didn't agree
Can a
with.
white
Stuff
girl
that
be
I know
molested?
was
Can a Mexican girl be molested? Can a Samoan be molested? Anybody can be a victim. It's not race related. I'm not saying anything crazy. You're disagreeing with me just because you want to win an argument when you don't have to. I'm telling you guys, you guys all agree with me.
We ain't arguing though.
But you don't want to say, you know what, you're right. You don't want to do that.
We ain't arguing
because of some some past bullshit you own.
We ain't arguing.
Okay.
We reading the definition.
I know. So I'm just want to inject. I want you to continue. I'm just saying when you're reading victim, I'm letting you know. So you no, I'm not. You can read how you want to read. But what I'm saying is, this is not race related. A victim does not mean black folk.
I didn't get there.
Okay.
You 10 steps ahead. First of all, like I was saying,
I signed up, kiss my ass. You stupid fuck! I wouldn't give a fuck about you.
We don't gotta do that. Don't worry about
it. But I signed to keep talking this motherfucking shit.
Come on, man. We can't.
Get your horner ass out of our.
Sorry, y'all. We had.
I nuts up sometimes. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's okay, bro. It's okay. Relax.
Yeah, Sonic's a bitch. He don't like black folk. He don't even think he's black.
All right. You are correct. Anyone can be a victim. So that is not a bad word. And it constitutes that something was done to you and you were injured, right? That's all I was saying.
Okay.
No one's running around like you're saying, and we just blatantly yell out, we're victims of, unless what we can show, which you claim we can't. That
I can give you a clear example.
Hold on, let me finish. Number one says what? That is.
But you're gonna go on and make me fit my point. You're asking. I just want to give you an example, and you continue.
Don't run now. No.
Okay. No. I'm running. I'm right here with you. I just want to give an example, and you continue.
All right. That one is
real
acted on and usually adversely affected by a force or agent. So if I can show you somewhere that the agent would be the state, county, city, police department, corporation, and it adversely affected me, that would make me a victim, right?
You can't show it.
I'm just asking you a question. No, we ain't even go through them.
If
I was injured, hold on.
Make you a victim. Yeah, it would make you.
There we go. Okay.
Say it again. Say it again, so I can be clear. Say it again.
We just understand in victimhood or victim.
Yeah. Right. Everybody can be victim. We're clear on that so far. But go
ahead.
So he's saying specifically, if you can prove that it was the state.
I didn't even touch race. What I said.
Say it again, though.
If I can prove that I was adversely affected by a force or agent meaning saying corporation or somebody that acts, or a business that acts under someone else's authority. That's what an agent is. We all can agree to that, right?
Right.
Adversely affected by that action, I am a victim.
Right.
Okay. I didn't say nothing about race. Okay. Well, you don't need race. So if a black person can prove that, you can't go in there and run and go, oh, you doing that because you black.
Okay, so flip it on the other side. A white person can do the same thing and be affected and be a victim and come in there.
It doesn't like to scream victim. We can't have the victim mentality. Hold on.
Let me clarify because I think you're mistaking me out of context. Let me just clarify because you're taking me way out of context.
I'm trying to slow walk it. Go ahead.
My point is, let me give you an example. My point is, Democratic Party and liberals cry victimhood mentality way too much. And that's how they keep you and get your vote, by keeping you a slave and thinking that you're a victim, right? For example, I made a post on Facebook. Shit went viral. It went viral because I told the truth. I said, if white folks said white girl magic, this is white girl magic. A white girl beat a black girl in a track event, and white girls like white girl magic and all this other. They say white girl magic. Black folk will be pissed off.
Nope, that's First Amendment.
No. Listen, let me. I'm telling you, I made a post with viral for a reason.
That's hypothetical.
If white folks said this white girl magic, black folk would call racism. But black folk can say black girl magic and it says, oh, it's cute. You didn't beat the girls in some track and field event, or you didn't dance better and showed out some white girl and you showed them up. And you can say black girl magic and nobody lift a finger or get mad or say a goddamn thing.
One second.
It is called being biased.
I
just want to make my point.
It's not like you're mad at us.
I'm not mad.
I agree with that. I'm not sure how that's helping you make your point, but I agree.
Thank you, Logic. At least I'm not making no false points.
I agree.
When you say that, I know at least you're hearing me and you're not shut off. Don't shut yourself off. I got you. Okay. If I went around and said Black Power, it's fine.
We did.
I can hold on. In 2024, I can get on the Breakfast Club right now and say Black Power, and it's all good. I won't get no consequences. Nobody's gonna sanction me or put me down. If a white boy went on Breakfast Club and said white power, niggas would go crazy, start marching and protesting. He's a racist and a bigot and say all kind of crazy stuff. Because white folk in America these days walk on eggshells around us. We got to let them say anything. We got to be careful. We can't say what they can say. You know what I mean? They can do all this old stuff, but we can't. Or black folk gonna cry foul. It is. People are biased. If the system we're talking about, black folk got carte blanche to say what the hell they want. White folk can't. It's called black privilege.
What?
Yep. It is called black privilege.
What?
You feel because some slavery in the 1800s that in 2024 you got the right to say and do anything you want. But if white folks say what you say, then you guys gonna get to marching. You guys know that shit is real.
Ain't just claim black privilege, though,
bro. Let me tell you something, bro.
That's cancel culture you talking about.
If I can get on the mic and say black power, that's called black privilege. If a white person can't say white power without consequence,
here's your problem, TX. Here's your problem. You can't show a history of that being detrimental to a whole nother race or contingent in this country. Period.
Whether I say black power or white boy say white power, it's not detrimental to anybody. It's just some racist talking, spewing some bullshit. I'm not getting emotional. I'm just saying, whether a white person said or a black person said, it's racist either way.
No. Let me rock. Let me cook. That's the problem. You couldn't show a history of that, and that being a problem for black people.
Listen,
you
Logic. Not Logic.
No, I mean,
Logic. Let me ask Logic because I think Logic more logical than you.
Let me finish.
Can you turn your mic up a little bit, Hits? You getting low.
Okay. Finish.
My bad. Yeah,
I'm gonna give you a clean example.
I try to normally keep it low, so I'm not screaming at people. But it's because you can't show a history of people who say black power being offensive and hurtful and putting a policy and creating a whole social construct off that. You can with white. No, let me finish. You can with white power.
No, ain't no white power.
Can't. Let me finish, bro.
Go ahead.
You can with white supremacy. You can carrying the Nazi flag. You can carry the Confederate flag.
Nazi flag?
The same folks. Now, if you saying white power or white girl power, ain't no problem. It's the same people that you might as well say they can walk down the street with a Confederate flag, which they can. But you also have the right to be offended by something.
Can I give you the clear?
Now hold on. I'll let you
Go
cook
ahead.
for like
Go ahead.
8 minutes, probably 7 and a
It
half.
wasn't that long, bro. Come on. You've been cooking twice as long as I have.
No,
Go ahead.
I'm supposed to.
No, you having an emotional argument. I'm saying real
nah,
plain
you
shit.
don't get to use emotional now, y'all. I stole emotional from Chief X. It's ours now. He can't get it back. We're going to copyright it right now. It's over.
I'm the only one here trying to tell people to be unbiased and relax and just clarify shit.
Bro,
you guys are acting like it's a competition.
No, it's not.
It's a difference.
If it was a competition, think about it.
When we're talking, it's a difference.
If it was a competition, right? and I had my hand on the button, I would cheat. I would get you up out of here.
But can I just make one example? You can continue.
And we would just mute you and just talk over you.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
I would just get you out.
Can I just make an example though?
You got it.
Okay. Listen to me, because people are going to be in denial. You know what, y'all? It is okay to just keep shit real. We like for instance, when I was I had a drug problem, got clean in 1992, right? And when we used to go to AA and NA meetings, they used to say, "Hey, my name is Xavier. I'm an alcoholic or I'm an addict. My name is such and something. I'm an alcoholic and I'm an addict." We say that we have to admit the truth. If you don't think you're an addict or an alcoholic, that means you think you don't have a problem. That means you'll continue to get high or you'll continue to be an alcoholic. So it's about people admitting a truth so then they can heal because they know what they were. For instance, Dr. Umar Johnson, black men, can go all over social media saying you're a coon if you married a white girl. You need to marry a black girl. You're a coon if you do this. You can never find white folks saying you're a sellout marrying a white girl. Marrying a black girl. If you marry a black girl, you're a fucking sellout and turncoat to the white race. This is called black privilege. Umar Johnson can run around on Breakfast Club freely, spewing black supremacy, spewing white hate, be untouched, and be invited back to the Breakfast Club 5 more times. There's no white man who can say, stop fucking with black girls, leave these black women alone, you're destroying the white race fucking with these black folk. And there's no way he can be invited back to the Breakfast Club 5 more times. That's called black privilege in 2024.
Okay.
Because we feel we can use this handicap and a crutch and lean on something that happened in 1890 and 1930, and we should be able to say what we want because we were slaves.
Okay.
This is a problem.
No,
let me just finish. I'm gonna wrap it up. Let me land my plane. I'm gonna wrap it up.
You got it.
I didn't say, this is what I'm saying. I didn't say anything that's not happening. I'm strictly stating what happens. Dr. Umar Johnson says that, and he's invited back. You do know if a white man said that, he wouldn't be invited back. I'm saying something so real.
I'm with
you have to be able to say, you know what, Chief X, I didn't think about that.
Look,
you're
Fetty
right.
Think you cooking.
What
Fetty says you cooking.
Yeah, look, I'm not. I didn't make that up. See, this is what I mean by black folk hate truth because they always want. Hold on, let me just finish. I'm about to be finished. Because black folk want to be able to lean on being a victim. So they can spew racism freely all across America.
Let's get
it is a clear double standard, and I am correct, and everyone with common sense knows it. The only reason you're going to fight me is because you're begging to be a victim still. And you don't want to take responsibility and be accountable for our racism that we spew.
Okay, hold on. Open challenge, right? You and Fetty should have the wherewithal the ability, the resources.
Am I wrong about Umar Johnson?
No, hold on. And the time.
Am I wrong about that example? I need to know that though. Before you deflect, am I right about my new Umar Johnson example?
I don't listen to Umar.
See, that's what I mean.
Look at Hot 90.
We can't have honest conversations. I'm about to go anyway.
That's silly.
I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you, but I'm bothered that you cannot be at least honest and say, you know what? That's true about him.
That's silliness on social media. I don't watch that.
Okay, so let me teach. So since you don't watch it, I do. Let me teach you.
Okay,
this is what goes on social media. This is what goes on, not just on social media. This is what goes on mainstream liberal media.
Close out with this. Whatever you're saying, close out.
Chief X, close out, bro.
Okay, let me close out. It is a clear double standard in 2024 with racism. Black folks spew racism untouched, and nobody checks them because white folk feel they got to walk around eggshells around you guys. Because they know you're going to cry foul and I'm a victim, and you're going to get to marching and protesting, and you're going to tear the goddamn country up and burn it up and act a goddamn fool. You know what I mean? While Republicans and conservatives are about protecting property. That's why the white boy Rittenhour was castigated by black folk because they got mad at him because he wanted to protect his own life, and a nigga was trying to hit him with a skateboard upside his head, and he shot the motherfucker's arm off because he was trying to save his life. Okay, let me watch my language. My bad.
Yeah, we on.
So because he didn't want the white boy to knock him out with a skateboard and take his rifle from him and kill him, so he shot the white boy, and his black folk is it all up in rage. He was there to protect property. He wasn't there to riot and burn, but you got mad at the people who protecting property. You got mad at the people who were standing guard for businesses. I wish I had a black business or a store. I wish I had somebody like Rittenhour that was standing guard protecting my business. I wouldn't want nobody. Hold on, let me finish.
By the way, hold on, we don't promote violence.
You asked me to close out. I'm closing out, and I'm about to get out of here.
Yeah, but we don't promote violence on this channel.
Okay, cool, good. But so we do. Maxine Waters was just out here saying, push back, get out there, and the folk was rioting. And this last riot, let me just finish. I'm closing out. I'm making profound points. You can't dispute them. Listen.
You're right.
The last riot we had was liberals. It was the biggest riot in U.S. history. $2 billion worth of damage, all by liberals and Democrats out here protesting fake police brutality cases for your vote. Republicans and conservatives weren't out here burning up the country. Those were liberals. You guys got it backwards, is what I'm saying. So my point is, and I'm going to end this. DEI shit, if I had a corporation, I wouldn't want DEI telling me who I can hire, who I can't hire, and who to hire. I'm a grown-ass man who's running my company, and I want to be able to do what the hell I want to do with it. I feel the same way about anybody else who's running their company. They should be able to do what the hell with their company that they want to do with the company. Leave them alone, okay? This is how I feel. Smaller government. You guys had 2025 all mixed up and wrong about it, okay? And this is what I feel. There's no systematic racism. No one can name what system is racist. You can't. Why? Because we have civil rights laws, human rights laws in place, and black folk is suing the heck out of people.
Gotcha.
They taking presidents to court and trying to put presidents away. Black folk got power. Stop it. You're not a victim. You were enslaved. None of y'all. You guys are running around here sipping on lemonade. Fuck, spoiled as heck and talking crazy. You guys can lean on food stamps and everything. Go to Africa and think you can get some food stamps.
Okay.
Ladies, y'all been wrong, and it's all good, and we're gonna get it together. I'm closed out.
Hold on. Shout out your channel.
My channel is Chief X. Just if you're not subscribed to Chief X channel, if you're not watching my channels, that's why you're living in the dark today. Because you said I'm going to spite myself because I'm listening to Brother Ankh talk crazy about Chief X. Now I think Chief X is crazy because Ankh and a bunch of other idiots said he's
Hold on,
crazy.
he's not here to defend himself. We're not
He don't
doing.
have to
Shout
be
out
here.
to
I
Church
wasn't
Channel.
there to defend myself, and nobody told Ankh
I
to
know.
hold on
All
and leave
right.
Chief X alone. Nobody ever says Chief X ain't here to defend himself. Stop talking about him.
I
But
said
whenever
that.
Chief X
I'm
gets
saying
talked
on my
about,
channel,
it's
yo,
all
I
hell.
specifically
I'm on
told
here listening. The reason
online.
why I came on because folks
We
was
said that.
misrepresenting me, telling me.
That.
So when Unc was on my channel, yo, I specifically told him, "Nah, we're not doing that war politics over here. We're gonna keep it between me and you.
You
We're
said
having a
you told
conversation."
Ankh leave Chief X alone.
I said everybody. I said everybody. Smash. None of them.
Yeah, that
Don't
ain't
talk
Chief
about
X
none
though.
of them
But I'm
people.
out. I'm out, y'all. Have a
And
nice
he
All
day.
didn't
right,
do it.
you say,
He
brother,
kept it
bro. No
respectful.
doubt. All right. Okay. To the people in the chat, and especially Chief X and Fetty, I'm sure your strong feelings and emotionalism. Chief X always calls everyone emotional and tells everybody to calm down.
He seemed pretty
But
emotional.
but obviously he don't he don't consider them words himself when they're thrown back at him. But they would be able to show Chief X and somebody like Fetty. Yep, I'm singling you out, Fetty. Y'all would be able to show reverse racism in detail. And I think Chief X was more explicit about the year. He said 2024. So I implore Chief X and Fetty to show reverse racism in 2024. To me, it should be easy. The year's almost over. You're 11 months in. Y'all know what the hell y'all talking about. Obviously, you got it down pat. Oh, passion, not emotion. My bad. Chief X said it was passion.
Passion is emotion.
All right, well, we ain't gonna do that. I signed it. What up, bro? Akim, what up? He came on. He was a good guest. Chef came on. Brass came on. Peace to our brother DQ. Again, in our individual states, sometimes we can overlook how the group is doing, how our extended family is doing, how people that look like us and grew up like us and carry a lot of the same traits that we do are doing. And if you're not considerate or at least thoughtful, everything can look like it's on the even playing field. But at the same time, I was raised to consider people. I'm sorry if that comes across wrong or that, just because I don't say what I got or who I did for, who I gave to, or just blah, 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 that it may seem that I may be one of them. I am not. But I implore us to consider our history here is detailed, as of more recently. It's extraordinary. It's impressive. It's important. Supremely important. It's encouraging. Not only to us, but it has been for people all over this globe. So big shout out to all our guests. Everybody was in the chat. Again, if you have a channel, put your channel in the chat. Hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe. Hit the notification icon. I appreciate all of y'all. Chats, it caught me off guard. I was just gonna watch, but shout out to my big bro Logic for putting on a good show, having a good topic, and he put this together by himself. The brothers at Tri Media are working hard, and that's it. So y'all have a good night, good evening. Be safe out there, and I'll holler at you, Logic. You got it,
For
bro.
sure, man. I
Take us off.
appreciate you pulling up, man. First of all, I thank everybody for coming through, man. I think this show was actually a lot of fun. I learned a lot. I learned a lot doing this show. I learned a lot about making shows doing this show. And I also learned, a few other things about the audience and about some of the people who listen. And I got some, I got some direction on some of their sentiments and where we might be maybe not so specific about these certain words, right? Like not necessarily like, what DEI is and what are the pros and cons of it? How much do Black people benefit from it? I think there's a lot lot in there, right? Is because DEI isn't that cut and dry. When you're talking about enforcing it, when you're talking about implementing it, like it's definitely not something cut and dry. I did a good amount of research on it, and I think I was like prepared to do a show and like didn't do it. I'm not sure what sent me down there. I think Brass kind of was like, yo, you know what? Before you make some judgments about it, you need to look it up. Man, I think that's what it was, and maybe I didn't do a show. But it sounds like we need to kind of like really talk about that, and show some information about what political people are saying about DEI. And some of the pros and cons of it, right? I was really surprised when I looked it up. I didn't know, what the argument was on either side. I just had my preconceived notions about it sounds like they're taking something away from Black people, and that's just where I ran with it. And then when you look it up, you realize that it's just not that cut and dry. And tonight we talked about systemic racism, right? I did not know that Chief X thought systemic racism was gone. I didn't know that. That's interesting, right? I think when you look that up, like you can see that there's definitely some stuff that we're dealing with as Black people and looking at systemic racism, right? Even if you look up redlining isn't entirely gone, but a lot of the words and the terms in redlining have been changed, right? And let me just real quickly, just put this on the screen during my quick little closeout, so we can kind of look at this together right quick. Let's see, is this the right one? I got like 3 different chat GPTs open right now. Nope, it's not this one. It must be the other one. I have to close some chat GPT just so I know which one it is. Nope. Okay. Let me do that. Close this. Close that. All right. Here we go. Now I'm straight. Well, I done looked up so many different I messed around and deleted the wrong one. But it's all good. I'll say that for a show, right? So long story short, they've changed around some of the verbiage, right? They've changed around what redlining looks like today, right? And today it would look a lot more like something that we touched on briefly earlier. That sounds like, again, that'd be another interesting topic for a show. When we talk about zoning, right? Zoning isn't overt racism, but it appears to work like covert racism, right? See, like the way zoning works is these imaginary lines that your city comes up with in order to create districts. Now, these districts are going to be where you are going to collect your property taxes from. When you're talking about your public school system, your property taxes are gonna be what the main source of budget for your public school system. So if you imagine a low income area with low property tax values, they're paying low property tax, so their quality of education in their public school system is going to be low. And that's going to be due to the zoning, right? And in that particular zoning, since there's low income in there, it's going to not allow your housing, the people who own their houses, their property won't. What's the right word? The value of their property won't increase the same way it might on the other side of town, right? And that's not something to do with square footage. It's a lot more to do with the zone that they're in, right? See, like your redlining hasn't necessarily left, but it has certainly taken on another face, which is, and I wanted to say that before I got out of here, because that's what I am like. That's the thing I'm passionate about, right? I swear to God, like we be on here with our self-righteous rants and talking about who's black and who's not, right? And talking about how we can help the black community. I don't think talking about who's black and who's not helps the black community at all, right? I think figuring out how to deal with issues like zoning, right, which is putting us at the forefront of what we're actually dealing with from society, something that's happening all around us and that we're not even aware of it, right? That is how we're getting pencil whipped today. It's not necessarily the shopkeeper calling us out our name or throwing racial slurs at us. It's really more about how something like redlining is preventing us from creating generational wealth, from creating or from buying a house at 200,000 or 150,000, and then in our lifetime it becoming worth 500, 700,000. Like those are the things that are preventing us from closing the wealth gap, which of course y'all have heard me say millions and millions of times. I think that's where we should start prioritizing a lot more of our efforts. And I don't even think we need to be talking or mentioning Black power unless it has something to do with how to decrease the wealth gap. There's nothing powerful about being on the bottom. Throwing your fist up in the air and saying Black power to me means absolutely nothing, right? At the very least, contemplating some way of closing the wealth gap reminds me of Black power. That's my personal interpretation. Some other people putting on the dashiki, burning incense, taking a trip to Africa, that might be their idea of Black power, just not mine. And with that being said, man, I'm gonna throw the commercial on. I appreciate y'all coming out, man. We got some cool topics, just based off of that show. I think I got almost 3 or 4 good topics that I can talk about. I'll have a lot of time on my hand next week. I only have to work Monday and probably like a half day Tuesday. So hopefully I can not be surprised with something else I have to do, and I can put some more work in. Appreciate y'all coming out, man.
Tribe Media. Tribe Media. It's DQ, baby. Tribe Media. Check. Tribe Media Innovations, we gotta wait. What? Took a little minute, was patient, but now we take it. Anytime we want this game, our situation is entertainment intertwined with information. Alchemist soul, how we move the tassel and roll. It's amazing how we can turn something brass to gold. And we steady making hits. Architect with the prop in the scripts. It's logical that the product will flip. My boy Chef did the lineup, I'm fresh in the bitch. Carnivorous podcast, the newest show on the list. DQ on the boat, so I'm rocking the ship. Swallow the music gon' be dope and the artist legit. Hold my beard, concrete cord, then stepped in the door. See, that's my man and he reppin' for show. And true savior's a player with flavor. Lexicon Taylor, lines on point like a laser. We need that paper, we building the vault. Cause you niggas don't listen, y'all be waiting to talk. Lack accountability and try to make it our fault. But opposing us is trying to arm wrestle the hawk. You coming up short on your re-up, nigga we up. Really wouldn't want to be up. I kick my feet up. My beef is wagyu and my trunk is all speakers. Bills is all blue and my blunt is all reefer. With possible deniability, that boy eater. High quality whack juice by the liter. They like to call us ops, we got Oppenheimer features. That's the bomb out on the island just to teach